One, this is going to be a new thing for a bit, so bear with me. Why I want it? Oh goodness. Oh, I don't know. I don't think I can write out. Yeah, and I can't access my Rumble from here too, so it's going to be interesting. Um, well, hello everyone. My name is Daramoose, or Dara for short. My guest isn't here yet, but he has the link, so he should be able to show. I do. I don't know how well this is going to work. Um, One instance is because this is me using something I've used for emergencies, and the problem of that is that um, my PC, as stated before, is out and is in the repair shop. It is being worked on, that whole smorgasbord. And unfortunately, that means I have to use it was either cancel or use the tools I have, which is what Rumble Studio app is. Doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, and doesn't mean it's going to be great. Um, but unfortunately, I can't look at my stream while I'm on because I'm on my phone. And this is how this works. So I'm hoping my guest will come on soon. Otherwise, I'm going to have to turn off my camera and my microphone, go out and check check to see if my guest is there. Um, because again, I am on my phone. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. Um, so how are all of you doing? I know uh, that, um, yeah. So the story of my computer. Sorry. Story of my computer is this. Um, I was it was Thursday. It was Thursday. It was Thursday, and what happened was that I had put my computer to sleep. Now, obviously, you put your computer to sleep, you click on that sleep thing, goes to sleep, and then supposedly when you shake the mouse, it will wake up. Done that for a while, ever since I replaced my motherboard and of course GPU, although my old GPU works fine. Um, um, the aforementioned uh what was it? The aforementioned uh yeah, the aforementioned dang it. The aforementioned motherboard and stuff was fine. It just wasn't working before. So I replaced that board with Tommy's help, of course. Replaced that board, replaced the GPU, because a cheap GPU less than $200. Well, less than 220. Um, but I replaced that board and that GPU, and everything worked fine after that, right? Like that was the end of December to Thursday of last week in January. So what happened was I put my computer to sleep like I'd always done, and the computer itself just wouldn't wake up. Basically, what happened is if I would move my mouse, and the fan would turn on, everything would turn on except the screen. The screen was a dark blank. So of course, I kind of used Claude to help, but I used that, did a CMOS thing, cleared everything right up, was able to get back in, and everything was fine. I was able to do the pay it forward stream, was able to do all stuff. I thought, well, something's wrong with sleep, so I figured I'd try hibernate, right? Because I'm no tech person whatsoever. Um, but the what is it? When I had put it on Friday, this is Friday now. When I put it back to sleep, it had, or hibernate. When I put it to hibernate and come back Saturday, again, nothing. No, blank screen, whatever. It would just be blank screen, and um, yeah, and it was a weird thing that my computer was not responding. I mean, it would respond at turn on or whatever. So through that Saturday morning and afternoon, or late Saturday. Hey, Toasty, how you doing? Sorry, this is not the perfect way of doing this, but unfortunately, it's what I'm limited to until my computer is in the shop. And that's not the fun stuff. I don't know. Meister has the link. I'm not sure what's going on. I told him once I'm on here, I wouldn't be able to respond. So there's that. Good. You look, man. I am glad I'm able still to do this. That's about as glad as I right now. I'm glad I'm able to do this because I really wasn't gonna want to call off a whole week of gas because I don't know what's wrong with my PC. Um, I just didn't want to do that. So right now, waiting for Meister. Not sure what's going on. I think he said he was going to raid, but he has the link. He has the link to get on. I just cannot check my DMs. So if Meister, if you're out there, you're gonna have to communicate in chat. Am I looking okay to you, Toasty? Because I can't check I can't check the stream while I'm on my phone. Um, so there's that. I'm hoping everything's okay. I couldn't play any media, so I'm sorry, guys. There will be no intro outro because unfortunately they don't allow you to play any media from little blurry. Little blurry. Okay. Well, I'm guessing that might be a. I'm on Wi-Fi, so that might be the case. But as long as you can hear me and see me a bit, I think we'll be good. Because I'm looking clear from this end, but from your end, if I'm a little blurry, then then it might be a Wi-Fi issue or something like that. I know the iOS, the app is sort of finicky about things, but um, as long as you can hear me, we're good. Yes, so like I was saying, my PC is in the shop right now, so I have this. This phone here is all I've got in order to speak to you guys and have my guests on. Now, obviously, it's going to be a little weird. Obviously, I'm not streaming to YouTube because for some odd reason, the Rumble Studio app would not allow me to set a thing through YouTube. So I'm gonna have to make that thing to Rumble support if they'll answer, all that stuff. Quacker, he's going to trade. Oh, okay. Thank you, Rumble Quacker. Thank you for that update because I wasn't sure. Because I'm kind of limited in what I can do. I'm strictly limited to what I can do because I am on my phone using the Rumble App Studio. So this is great for an emergency, but I'd really like my PC back. And the PC repair store is closed today, so I have to wait till tomorrow to find out where my PC sits at and getting fixed. Because like I was saying, um, had it in hibernate and usually you're supposed to move the mouse and it'll come back up, the screen will come back up. The display did not come back up. It was a blank black screen and my fan and stuff was on, but it was like the lights were on but nobody was home, sort of scenario. So I spent a big chunk of Saturday just trying to, using Claude to just try to troubleshoot and all the stuff, all that. I got up to BIOS would come up on screen, but trying to get to Windows Home would not. So I'm not sure what's going on. Uh, and it's never as important to the repair folks as it is to us. Yeah, and that's why I'm gonna have to, and that's why I'll have to make a phone call, like, because they only open like to noon, to 7, I believe. So tomorrow I'll make a phone call and say, hey, what's going on or whatever. Because I do need to find out where it's at and what I need to do and what the cost will be because it will cost me if it's not an easy fix. So right now I'm hoping it's just a software issue, and that because story is that once my computer was down the first time after December, I replaced my motherboard, replaced my GPU, everything worked fine. Everything worked fine. And then maybe a month or so after the fact, it would just not the display would just not show up. Now, again, my BIOS would show up perfectly fine, but my display would not show up at all into the Windows factor, right? And it was working Thursday, it was working Friday, but come Saturday, nope, just wouldn't show up anymore. So I'm hoping it's a software issue. If it's not, it's gonna be The worst of it, the worst scenario, right? Here, just naming the worst scenario. The worst scenario would be is that I have to replace the whole thing. Maybe not the whole thing, but enough that it's going to cost. Um, yeah, yeah. It's a rough thing there, Toasty. It's a rough thing. Because I'm basically using my phone to and I'm not sure if it'll last 2 hours. It's a new iPhone 13, so it should be good for a while. But yeah, it sucks. And again, I can't multi-stream to YouTube because the app is not allowing me to. So I'll have to send that into support. But yeah, so it sucks. It sucks that my PC is not here. It sucks that I can't do the big stuff. It sucks I can't even check my own stream from here because I can't. I can't check my stream from here to make sure things are running smoothly. So I will be relying on you guys to kind of give me feedback if something's not going well. Because I don't know. So, but yeah, so I'm without a computer. Um, I've got my phone. Guests and stuff will resume normally. I don't know about pay it forward because it's just, yeah, I think it'll just be a guest. If my computer does not get fixed by Friday, and I'm hoping it won't go that long, but if it doesn't get fixed by Friday, then it seems like it'll just be a guest thing with my guests because pay it forward relies on multiple of things, and that's what a desktop is good for. So it's a learning it's a learning curve of wonder for this thing, and I appreciate you being here. I really do. Face is closer than you. Well, yes, because I'm on a phone. I have to I have to um I I I don't know the limit or whatever of how it's supposed to look. Um yeah, right. All right. Yeah. All right, how's that? Nope. Because I gotta do this, and then my phone's gonna fall off. So here we go. How does that look? I think it look good. I think I look a little. I think I look a little relaxed, but I don't know how long it's gonna last. Um, but yeah. So while we're waiting for Meister, yeah, I just figured I'd let people know that because it's certainly gonna be an interesting week. It's not gonna be the end all be all week, but it certainly is gonna be a rough week. And okay, okay, all right. Thank you for keeping me on tabs there, guys, because this is gonna be a doozy. It would be so much easier to just click over the next tab, but I can't I can't do that. I mean, this is great. This is great. I'm glad I'm still able to do something, but dear Lord, does it hurt? Dear Lord, does it hurt? Um, but yeah, it's been a funny thing without my PC because you don't realize how much of life revolves around that, to be honest, because it's either entertainment or you're watching stuff or making content or whatever. You don't realize how much the same with your phone, right? Your phone is a centerpiece to you. And without your phone for a while, you're going stir crazy. Like for me, I've tried to walk more. I'm trying to do more stuff to better me. But gosh, my gosh, does it get this weird thing where you're just like, what am I supposed to do now? It's sort of like that. It'd be worse if the power was out, like for good. But let's not hope for that. Let's not hope for that. So, but yes, I hope my guest arrives sometime. Oop, I want to get out of that. Okay, but yeah, I'm grateful for my phone. I'm grateful for the app. And it's funny thing is my previous phone was a 7 and I couldn't use the app because I didn't have a high enough iOS version. I was like, "Come on." It was like it had to be like iOS 16 or something like that. I'm just like, "Come on. Seriously, it just let me use it." And the funny thing is, okay, so the funny thing is that I can't use mobile web to access Rumble Studio. I can only use the app on phone. I can't access otherwise it brings me this loop where it won't let me enter in. I'm just like, but it's mobile web. I don't understand why I can't use it. Maybe they don't have it set up like that. But I mean it's weird. It's very weird. that there's no um, that you can't. You can use Rumble. You can use Rumble on a. I have an 8 to. I have trouble to having an 8 to use the watch. An 8 to use the watch. What's that? I have trouble too. Um. Oh. Okay. 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 Backing out from that. Um. But yeah, um the thing about it, where was I at? Now I'm lost. Dang it! Ugh, curses! I'm trying to keep an eye on chat. Oh, iPhone 8. Oh, okay, iPhone 8. Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's where I was. Thank you for reminding me. I had an iPhone 7. I had to have a 16 or higher revision for iOS, and I couldn't because it wasn't going to go up that far. So I went to got a 13. It cost me like 500 something bucks through T-Mobile because that's where I bought it, and I've enjoyed it so far. I like the phone. I like the ability to do what it does, but at the end of the day, um, it did cost quite a bit. Um, where was I at? But yeah, it was not a fun time. So I couldn't use it, and I can't use again. Yeah, I couldn't use mobile web version of Rumble Studio from my phone. So it seems like that's not a thing, even though you have an app. I understand, but if I can use Rumble from mobile web and use the Rumble app, you would think you'd be able to use both Rumble Studio and the Rumble Studio app on mobile. But I don't know. I'm just here doing this thing. Um, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting time at least. But I get to enjoy time with all of you guys, so that's the bonus. That's the bonus right there. I much look forward to it. Um, And so I'm glad I was able to get my I have a little um light thing here that you can see that I was able to plug into like a UBS because that light was plugged into the plug into adapter that was plugged into my computer. And now I just have it plugged into like a regular old USB. Hey, look at that. Look at all those colorful uh, things that Mr. R made. Yeah, so if you don't know Mr. R, oh, I have a bigger hands now. Mr. R made all those right there. So grateful for him for doing that. They're actually just my post-it note. Well, they're not my post-it notes, but they are post-it notes that, um, like these. Oh, I gotta move my head in the opposite direction. Like these post-it notes right there. Look at that. Look at those colors. Yeah, and it's it's certainly new like direction too, where you have to look down like here a bit. Uh, Now you're just looking straight at me. Hello, chat. How are you? You you look great. Is that is that a is that a new cologne I smell, or is that just deodorant? Um, how to smooth talk your chat and anything. Hey, chat, guess what? I love you. I just I just want to see somebody try to do this, like try to seduce the chat. Um, yeah, it's a funny one. It's a funny one. Yeah, let me try to seduce chat, see how that well that works out. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to give you a policy violation. You aren't supposed to seduce your chat that well. Hey, what can I say? All my chat likes me. Yo mama. I, I, I just think that's funny. Oh my goodness. Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine there's some content creator out there that's like every stream is like, hey, what's up? My name's Simple Simon. That's right. From the fairy tales. Guess what? You're in my chat because you want me. That's right. You want me. You want me. And you're all here to give me praise and wonder. That's right. Because I'm just that good. Oh, what was that? I can't hear your applause. Ah, ah, ah. Simple Simon says, a little more, please. Oh man, I'm having too much fun with this. Yeah, it's too funny. I'm sure there's some out there like that. Yeah, oh yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. The pool's big and vast, but you won't see me trying to seduce my chat. I ain't got those looks. All right, I got this. I got this. I got I got sort of the scruff up here. I do trim this off once in a while though, it's nice to feel that newness, right? It's nice to feel the wind on your face. Sort of like when Pocahontas would talk about the colors of the wind. I feel the colors of the wind on my face. Um, oh man. Oh goodness. But but yeah, I do like being able to shave this off once in a while. I mean, I let it. This is for some odd, for a point of it. This is pure laziness, right? This grows because of pure laziness, pure L2O, as the kids would call it, pure L2O, pure laziness on oxygen, right there. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, it's just it gets a little long and a little itchy and all that stuff, and then after that, I'm just gonna beforehand, right? A long time ago, not so now, but a long time ago, this area right here would get very itchy every stinking time. Every stinking time, it'd be enough. I was just like, I gotta shave it. So it's not as bad as it used to be. Actually, it's not as bad as all, to be honest. But at the end of it, at the end of it, it was just a terror, just like, "Ugh." So I had to shave it off. I had to shave it, and yeah, yeah, it's just been pure laziness at this point. I don't I don't mind it, because if I were to shave this off, I'd look pure baby face and be like, ugh, what is that? What is that look? Oh, oh my goodness, look at that disgusting face. Oh my goodness. Um, nah, I don't think they'd really say that, but then I wouldn't care anyway. But but yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't I'm not one of those people that grows those very long beards, because I why? Like, I know some ladies like the scruff, all right, I get it, but I'm really not. I really don't have a lady longer for the scruff, so I just don't have the scruff, um, and I just don't like it all the time. Like, I'm not gonna go out and see like those ZZ top. You ever see those ZZ top guys? Those beards are so long they reach down to their belt buckle. I'm just like, no, 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 no. I don't think so. I don't think so. Um, it's never been that thing kind of thing for me. Haven't you? Haven't I seen you kind of? Yeah, I think so. I think I was clean shaven around that time, but I've been clean shaven before. It's just I don't do it all the time. So there's that. Um, but yes, I have been clean shaven before. I don't remember if I was clean shaven when Mayhem was on here, but I mean, the video's out there. You can always check. Um, but yeah, I just hmm hmm. It is one of those things where I don't know. I just don't need this. I don't have to have it. Sorry. I don't have to have it. It's not some social thing. It's not like I'm going in the mountains and I'm gonna be chopping wood or anything like that. Although I have tried. Hey Dash, how are you doing, good sir? Just waiting on my guess. I don't know when he's coming on. I did tell him the time, but it is what it is. So we're just gonna chat about whatever, as usual, right? Like, you come to my show, you see me ramble for hours on end, and then you say, "Who was that guy? Who was that guy?" I don't know anything about him. But hey, Dash, did you see my whole communication with Rumble Mario today? I just wanted to know, because I think it went sort of well, but there's still some issues. There's still some issues. Now, I'd like to discuss, uh, if I can see it. I will. I will go chop wood. I will go chop wood, and you'll be having fun with it. Um, no? Well, fine. Okay. Well, let me put the story down. Okay. Let me put the story down, because I can't keep paying attention to the. So, what happened was, is to a point. I got tired. I got tired of no response. I'll look it up. I did see the convo with Tommy. Yeah. That conversation was also needed, but um, the conversation with okay, hold on, hold on. So what happened was is I got tired. I got frustrated, sure, but I didn't throw that frustration out on the internet. I got frustrated, got tired. I got tired of not getting a response from Rumble support. One is during the towards the last few weeks of December, my debit card wasn't working in paying for gifted subs and rants. Emailed, emailed twice, did all the things I was supposed to do through Rumble support, still got nothing, right? And then earlier than that, I had emailed accounting at Rumble my W-9. Now, obviously, because during that time period, Eric Conda had putting out that picture saying it's getting close to tax time, so get your W-9 out there. And I was like, okay, I'll get that done and I'll send it off to them. Hopefully, I'll get a response back. Didn't get a response back. So for a period of time, I've been holding on to things email-wise that support has fallen through on. Now, obviously, making a public post uh, involving all like Chris and Mario and gaming on Rumble and Rumble Video and all that stuff. I didn't involve Rick because it has nothing to do with Rick's area. That's the issues. Only involve the people in which it has something to do with. That's the CEO. That's Mario. And all that stuff. Otherwise, you're just adding on people who don't need to be noticed, right? Like it's nothing to do with Rick's area, so I leave Rick out of it. However, Rumble Mario, Chris Bobovsky, and all that stuff. So during the daytime, later in the daytime, I got an answer from old Mario. And the 2 points were, because I can't access where I'd written down, the 2 points were, one, I had sent in my W-9 November of last year and got no response from accounting. I figured I would because, hey, we received it, all that stuff, right? So this is going to be a little on the looking at. Maybe complaining a bit, but I'll try to stay away from that too much. I don't want to be too negative, right? I did get some movement, but it needs to get better. So talked upon that, talked about sending in, and then it was 2 days ago. Hey, Foda, what's going on? Doing well, doing well, doing well. Hope well as well. Hey, it's going well, good sir. Stuck with the there he is. Thank you, good sir. I can't bring it up. Oh, there I can. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Hopefully see you soon, good sir. Hopefully see you soon. The link is in your DMs, by the way. So uh if you have a moment. Hey, what up? What up, persevere? What's going on? Nice to see you. Nice to see you all. I'm just talking about a post I made. So I made a public post expressing that frustration with the not only the W-9 no response, but the transaction I can't complain. Well, that's good, man. Good. Complaining too much gets you nowhere. Let's go. That's right, everyone. So I did express my frustration, but I kept it professional. I kept it with the line of all that stuff. Um, the Where was that? So yeah, I put that out there for my W-9 that I wasn't getting any response. Hey, Lucas, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, because I'm without a PC, guys, so I am on the app because it's all I got right now. It is all I got right now to do this. So, um, so I made that public post out in the open, tagging, hey, Queen Sprout, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I know I might miss some people, but at the end of it, I am on mobile, so I'm kind of limited to how I can do this. So I do apologize. Hopefully, I'm here. Hopefully, to hear about my PC tomorrow because they were closed today. So I'll wait another day to find out where my computer's at. Blastmeister. For the first time tonight, so happy to have come to Rumble. Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty good. Um, hey Hans. Oh yeah, I saw you were playing with him, Hans. How's it going, Hans? I have found my people. Oh dear goodness, don't say that, otherwise it'd be like Moses. You'll be the new Moses, and people ask you to lead them out of Egypt. Um, so where was I at? Yes. So I made a public post expressing my frustration on W9 not getting a response, and the transaction that failed last night because I couldn't use my card. It kept failing. It wouldn't put a rant through. So, oh, there he is. Hey, Toasty. Oh, where's Toasty? Oh, that's right. I was thinking of another Toasty. Um, but so I was expressing my frustration about those two things, and Rumble Mario responded. Now, obviously, he was going on both things, and he had wanted clarity. So I gave him clarity of both arenas, the W9 and the all that jazz. And so when I put that, when he responded, he made two different posts. Hey there, Omega, hold on. How you doing, good sir?
You're good, brother. You're good. My apologies for being a little on the late side.
A little. You want to talk about no?
No, you're absolutely right. A lot late. But thank you
Look,
again for letting me
if
come
you
in. It's an honor, brother.
if you were a waiter, they would not. You would get a penny out of.
No tip. No tip.
Nope.
I heard that.
And you
I
would,
see the
and you want to,
Meisters over there. I was like, y'all get over there. Get in this chat. Make it
yeah,
happen.
you would have been like, well, I got no tip, so no worry about taxes, right?
Oh, there you go. No taxes if there's no tips. I love it.
That's right. But no, thank you for comments, sir. I was just
I
letting people
appreciate it.
know about my computer situation because I am using the Rumble Studio app, so my PC is kind of down for the count. It was working for my Pay It Forward stream last Friday, but I tried to bring. You know how you can put your computer to sleep or hibernation, right? Because it's Windows, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I could wake it up, but no one was home. Like my display would not show. So I had to take it in Saturday to a PC repair shop to try to figure out what's going on because I was doing a little my own troubleshooting and I was getting nowhere. It was not fun.
Oh man, yeah, no, that's the thing. Is like, you could look at there's 100 different ways to solve issues. With
All
anything
right, see you
software
later, Rumble
related.
Cracker. All right, have a good one. Yeah, no, definitely, and hopefully it's mostly just software related because if it's hardware, because I had just replaced, because I had an issue in December, towards the end of December, my graphics card wasn't working or it wasn't showing whatever, and thank goodness that Tomby kind of gave me help for that. He's someone I've had on before, um, and so I replaced my motherboard, right? I replaced my motherboard, got a new motherboard, and of course I replaced my graphics just because just because I'd have an extra graphic card in case something happened, and it still works. But it wasn't until Thursday, but I was able to get my computer back by doing a CMOS thing, which is you take the CMOS battery out, wait 5 minutes, put it back in, BIOS, all that stuff. Worked fine after that. I was able to come up to the screen. Saturday, Switch took out the sleep portion and put in hibernate because those are two different factions of the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then come Saturday, like morning, afternoon, blank black screen, no reset, no nothing, was not bringing it up. I'm just like,
Oh,
oh,
that's a problem you don't like to see. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I was able to get the BIOS up, so after I would do the CMOS thing, so I could see the BIOS just fine. But after that, nothing. It was just like,
Golly.
so hopefully it's a software thing. But other than that, how are you, good sir?
Man,
I
I'm
see
doing
your
fantastic, brother. I'm
I
doing
see your
fantastic. Very blessed.
why are you called Omega instead of Meister?
Well, so Meisters, yeah, and I get this question, and Hans he's gonna chime in. It's like, no, his name is Meister. It's a lie. Um, so the idea of creating the Meisters of Madness wasn't it's not like I started streaming and got to be, create this channel that was basically my stream or whatever. It was an idea from a group in, with the crew that runs this thing, and they were like, "Hey, you know, what about you host for us?" And then hopefully the conversation was that hopefully at some point in the future there'd be more than just one host. We'd have, the Meisters of Madness. You'd have me
uh,
as one of the hosts, and then
mhm.
we'd have more. See, I told you. Like he's every time. It's Meister. No, It's Omega. Um, Even when I drop in, occasionally I get to hang out with Cool Frog on his open mics, and he's like, "Omega,
Yeah.
spelled with an M." I'm like, "Okay." So yeah, especially from newer viewers, there's always that confusion of like, they're always like, "Hi, Meisters," and I'm like, "Well, you're talking to everybody, so that's fair. But my name's Omega,
Yeah.
and I just host
Well,
for the Meisters." So
yeah, cause I mean, I saw Meisters of Madness and like, well, okay, that sounds really good, but what are you know?
yeah. So
I
we've
mean,
got a
I guess.
Discord, and in the Discord we kind of explain it too. But it's basically we wanted to create a community that's welcoming to gamers
Mhm,
of every kind, where you could chat, you could share tips and tricks. Like even when I'm live playing games, there's people that drop in there all the time. They're like, "Oh, if you didn't know, you can do this or that," and I'm like, "Oh, dude, educate me because I love that." Um,
yeah.
so it's really what it's designed for, but more about building the community and bringing
Mhm,
people together so that they can enjoy gaming as a group. We try even like tonight when we got started. Hans introduced me to somebody new that's streaming on Rumble, and we invited him. And I was like, "If you're free, come play. Come
yeah.
play right now." So we try
Yeah,
to do
no,
that.
that's definitely been what I've seen a big chunk of people do. I mean, I've done it for not Rumble. I've done it for YouTube,
Mm,
Twitch. I had a guy on from Kick, so I kind of go cross platform because there's so much more, and so it's sort of like when I did this, I did the gaming thing too, right? I streamed game, like I was like doing Minecraft stuff or whatever,
right.
and it just wasn't something that clicked for me, right? Like some
Mm,
people will find that thing where they make baking, right? They do baking or cooking or whatever, or they do car work or whatever. It's just something that connects, right? But it wasn't until I hit the conversational piece that thing sort of connected, and then I just kind of went with it. And I've been for over. Thank you for the invite. Oh, so this is the person. There you go. Look at that right there. Thank you for
oh,
the
of course.
invite. Well, we do baking and hell divers. Oh dear lord.
Baking.
I
I mean, that's kind of yeah, with Helldivers, that's kind of a two-in-one, right? Love
Yeah,
it.
it's kind of part of it, yeah. But no, I enjoy doing this thing, and I talk to a lot of different people, creators, and that, and sometimes they come through the pay it forward thing, like you and many others did. So yeah, I'm glad I was able to get to have you on because there's always like look, the hardest thing for this thing at all is just scheduling, right?
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
and the invitational part,
Mhm.
because some people will be like, "I'd like to invite you," and they're like, "I don't know who you are," which is sort of, which is sort of that thing. You're like, "Come on, just please."
Absolutely. Well, it's actually Hans who first introduced me to you. We were talking, and he was like, "Hey, you should hang out with Daramuth." He introduced me to you, Cool Frog, and a few others,
Mm,
Dear
yeah,
Sarge. There's a lot of really
yeah,
cool people, and I'll give credit to Rumble. I mean, they've really developed a, um, community feeling for their creators, which is
mm,
exactly what if I was going to do anything with streaming, that's exactly what I would want, is for you're collaborating with people. Because even for
yeah,
me personally, when I'm not, hosting the Meisters of Madness, I don't
uh,
really game unless there's someone to game with. Gaming for me is not a individual thing. It's like I want to be around people. I want to be with people, talking to people
mm,
while I'm doing it. So it makes a lot more sense to do it,
yeah,
with people. So
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that's I mean a big chunk of gaming, at least from like I know Fuse has done something with the
oh yeah.
community gaming thing. Amish has done something. I think it says Halo stuff, but I've seen that. It's sort of one of those things. I mean, of course you'll see that on many places. I know Twitch probably or Kick, whatever, but I know a lot of people have said, Rumble's kind of give them the community factor. There's some
Right.
issues, sure. I have my own and so many others I've met as well. That's why I do my Rumble Squared to kind of find that data.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, the improvements will help. It's just they've got to hopefully are continuing to listen on things that are important because a lot of people again still have the important stuff. Um, Though I'm just one person, so what do I know, right? I'm just here to try to do this thing.
Well,
Um,
what I've come to realize is that the everyday creators, we really run into about the same issues. So,
mhm,
well, and Hans and I were talking when we were playing Helldivers. It's the same thing there. Is things that you experience from an
mhm,
individual level, even as a small creator, it probably
mhm,
the same experiences even the larger creators have. And so your feedback is just as valuable, or it should be realistically, because in the end our experience is going to be very similar to even the largest creators. So, I mean,
yeah,
they're obviously gonna face things that we don't,
mhm,
they're gonna have a heavier chat load, heavier, um, traffic on their stream, probably gonna have
mhm,
more demand for, uh, whether it's graphics and things like that. So they're gonna come across some things, but in general, how the platform
mhm.
operates is going to be the same.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, again, uh, there is, there's going to be a lot of here or there, and I know a lot of people will bring their experiences, whether it's from Twitch or YouTube, because again, those are the comparisons we have,
Mhm.
obviously, and so all that stuff. But at the end of the day, there are things they are trying. It's just, yeah, not to bring complaint to it. It's just there's still well, there's plenty of road to lay, and there's still there's been a beautiful road that laid so
Mm.
far. There's still plenty more to do and all that stuff. So, but that's just something I keep seeing pop up. But yeah, for doing this thing with talking with others, it's just been trying to reach across that table where I didn't see very many other creators doing it. Oh, I mean, I've
Mm.
met a few who do, but sometimes people build their circles and they sort of stay. Hold on,
You're good.
excuse me. Some people stay within their circles that they've built, and they kind of just they
Mm.
either stay within something of what they're working on, like gaming or whatever, and keep people within that regard, or they try to find someone sort of considered higher up to kind of bring it kind of congregate around a bit. Um, because at the end of the day, they're that it's just out there. It's just part of that natural organicness or whatever it is. But for me, it's like I, I kind of want to break off from that because you tend to get kind of stuck. Oh well, not you, but those people tend to get kind of stuck in those circles, and they're not
Yeah.
reaching beyond the borders.
Mhm.
Whereas in you, you and I have access to the biggest connective place on the world, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
either through satellite or cable, fiber, whatever you have, we're connected to the biggest thing that connects us to everyone else in the world, and we only use it on a very minute scale, so minute that if only the atoms could show, right? That's how minute it is.
Yeah, and it
No,
is.
yeah, that's fine, Kismet. Just make sure you ask next time. Oh, okay. Uh, yeah. Just make sure you ask next time. There we go.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't read.
we
So I can, I can read you. I can I can read. I can read, Hans. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Han
Thanks. Thanks for
so
making me feel like a 5-year-old.
let me tell you, Darren, the fun thing about Hans was, it was after I got rated, by Mrs. Ma'am, which, I mean, if anybody knows, she's a really phenomenal creator, shows lots of love to the community. She tries to find people that are smaller and come in there and give them support.
Mm-hmm.
So Hans is like one of my first really big connections on here. Comes in through her,
Mm-hmm.
raid, and then spends the entire time trolling me through everything that I'm doing in the game that I'm playing. And then persistently shows up at stream after stream after stream specifically to troll me, and now
mm-hmm.
follows me everywhere I go and trolls me. So that shows you the kind of
uh,
community that it is. Like, you meet you meet everyone that you could imagine, creating close relationships with, where you're gonna get a good experience from them. And I saw Hanja Kismet talking about they got their cringe streams. It's like, it's cringe to some. I've had people tell me that I'm cringe. They get on there and they're like, "Dude, I can't stand the yelling. It's terrible. You're like, you're just always yelling." I'm like, "Dude, I can't change that. It's how I came." I have a sign. Where's the sign? It's up here. I'll get it down in just a second. It literally
Yeah.
it references that. But
Mhm.
we have an opportunity with the access that we have. You were speaking about to the largest network in the world, right? And
Mhm.
I love the fact that with what we get to do with connecting with people that you wouldn't otherwise, you get to learn
Mhm.
perspectives and you
Yeah.
get to share perspectives, and it's sharpened me. I know that's definitely the experience I've had, and I'm sure you've experienced
Mhm.
the same.
I try to. I'm not gonna say I'm a smart man, but I do know what love is. But anyway. uh, what is Dash saying? I can't. Oops. Oh, there you go. Can't wait for the day when Rumble has a community timeline so I control creators here more than on X. Well, I didn't know you were much of a troll there, Dash, but good for that. I was like, yeah, Lucas, why are you watching that?
CG, dude, exactly. Yeah, no, I get it a lot. Everybody's like, "That's all he does. He just yells." I love playing games
Well,
that are difficult, which means I die a lot, and that's just part of
uh,
it.
well, and the funny thing too is when PewDiePie was starting out, people would complain he was yelling a lot too,
Yeah,
right? He would yell
yeah.
all the time, and then from what I remember, Markiplier came on the scene and he was yelling a lot too, and people were complaining he was yelling like PewDiePie. So it's like you
I
can't
think
you can't
well
win with it.
well, I think that rage streaming is an actual thing now, like, people just wanna get on there and watch people rage at things,
Mm,
where, I would say there is a decent amount of yelling, but,
mm,
um we do have a lot of good intellectual conversations in my channel too, which
mm,
I love, and to your point earlier, you don't have to be intellectually book smart or whatever today's standards is to have good conversation that challenges thinking, right? The
mm,
best conversations I've had have been with everyday people, you know?
mm,
I'm not saying I haven't had great conversations with people who have extensive education because I have, but
mm,
it's your everyday people that you when you're out there walking around and
mm,
you're getting to talk to them, whether it's while you're waiting in line for food or as you're passing by at work or whatever, and
mm.
you get to pick their brain and they give you a perspective. You're like, "Man, I've never thought about it that way." And
Yeah.
a lot of times, the very extensively educated people don't have those perspectives because they don't experience life that way.
Right. Well, yeah, everyone experiences life differently. It's just
Mm.
the matter of fact is also upon your bias as well,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people kind of get stuck not realizing how much their bias can be what's the word? Inhibiting
Yes.
because you're not because again you've seen on social media too where you see a lot of people when they respond to a post, right, they respond on a very emotional level. They respond because
Mhm.
you're not seeing that other half of it where you're like seeing the face, whatever. You're just seeing this thing and you respond to it like they're attacking whatever, and it just gets out of hand. It really does. But
Yeah.
it's a time for taking a seat back and trying to say, okay, are they doing that like that or whatever. I kind of use um, sort of like AI to kind of be a filter because you never know what it is. But the point of the matter is that social media has kind of opened that door where everyone is reacting in this sort of, and of course,
Mm.
then you have the monetization factor at like Twitter X,
Yes.
and people just bait post just because they can and make money off it.
Yeah. Yeah, because then it's about the clicks, it's about feeding to an algorithm instead of
Mhm,
expressing your ideas.
mhm,
So a lot of those, you'll see them make outrageous statements to one end or the other, and
mhm,
it's or both, right? You'll see one post to one extreme and then another post to the opposite extreme, and it's like,
mhm.
I don't think that this person really has a coherent thought, but like you said, it's specifically designed around that. So
Yeah.
monetization definitely has had a big impact, and I know that's been a big discussion, like, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
these companies, don't they have the right to choose who they provide services to? And if If they don't like you, they can remove those services, but you still have free speech because you can still post.
Mhm.
If they're controlling your livelihood, I think that personally, I see that as a restriction of free speech because you're on the line for what you say at that point. So rather
Yeah.
than you being free to say what you wanna say while paying for a service and receiving the benefits of monetization, you're now threatened to losing your livelihood based on
Mhm.
what you say. That is a threat to the idea of free speech and the expression of ideas. Um,
Yeah, that becomes a sticky situation itself. It's like because a lot of the whole situation with Elon and that Laura Loomer thing, right? Where
mhm,
she Pokemon something and she lost her monetization. You could say, well, they don't have to monetize anymore. That's fine. But what that goes to show that there's no difference in and being like YouTube, where they'll just demonetize you for whatever reason they want and not give a care about the rules. Because I don't think she got an explanation, or she got an explanation that didn't make sense. I don't know what the true answer was, but I do, and I've said this before. I can't remember who else was on. Uh, oh, all right, all right. You have a good one, Persevere. You have a good night. All right, have a good one. Pop up a notification. Oh, nice. But oh, hey, Hora. Sorry, I'm trying to when you're on
oh,
the
you're good,
mobile
yeah,
app.
we get it. Get the chats.
Yeah. No, and the thing of it is, so like with the mobile app, you have to work a lot more. So I did everything. I did I did my thumbnail. I did everything through mobile. I'm just like, thank goodness I have something.
Yeah, and that it is a lot harder through a mobile device, but thank goodness for the tools that we have at our disposal this day and time, right?
Yo, yeah. Oh dear Lord,
That way
yes.
you're not
Because
completely shut down.
yeah, no, because I didn't want to have to go to like every person because again, I
Mhm,
don't know how long this is gonna last. I didn't want to go to every person and say, look, I don't think it's gonna work and all that stuff. And it's not gonna be perfect, but hey, we're here, and I'm
absolutely.
willing to deal. I'm willing to do that. But no, I can't remember who I said it to, but it's like, and I said it in a public post on Twitter X before, was that while helpful, monetization kind of ruined creativity. And the reason why I
Mhm.
say that is because what happened when Twitter X started monetization? You saw bait post after engagement post after bait post. They're asking questions like, "Where are you today? What's going on in your life?" All this stuff, and you're just like,
Yep.
What is that supposed to do with anything?"
Or just, a post of someone said such and such, "How do you feel about this?" Or take this
Yeah,
poll and blah blah blah. It
yeah.
absolutely, in a lot of ways destroys creativity.
Yeah, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be people who do something for free, because I mean, if you're doing something like, say, there were on YouTube, you can find many people who shoehorn
Mhm.
cows feed or tech stuff or whatever. There's like a content creator called Hacksmith Industries that followed, and they're doing all sorts of stuff. Heck, they're trying to make their own lightsaber, actually lightsaber. I'd show it, but yeah. Um, but the thing of it is, though, is what at a certain point, what does monetization constitute against
Mm.
creativity? Not maybe not against creativity, but on the back of creativity, because then are people are people creating for the money, or are they creating because they want to create?
Yes.
And you won't know, because once money is involved, it's like, you don't want to be rude to ask, but you're like, okay, so are they creating to create, or are they? So the best question would be, would you still create if you didn't get paid at all? And that's for all creators, right? If they say,
Yes.
I don't know if I would, then you know that they're in it for the money,
Mhm.
because their livelihood depends on it, right? What do you
Absolutely.
s- what do you see? What do you mean? What do you see? I see a lot of things. I see trees of green and skies of white, that sort of stuff.
I think Dashboard
Um,
Nomad was talking to someone else, but could be wrong.
mm, YouTube may have abroad in Japan and Linus Tech Tips. So we got an artist who uses pizza. That's true.
Yep.
That is true. But
Well,
he
and that's
was. Oh, go ahead.
no, you're good. Go ahead.
No, but I mean, he did have an account on YouTube, so he was there before he came to Rumble. So at a time, YouTube
Mm.
did have him. No, but you were gonna say something. I apologize.
Oh, yeah, you're good. The yeah, the thing I always tell people, that when they start talking about, oh, Rumble should pay or do or whatever the case may be. And not that you can't critique Rumble. I'm not saying you
Yeah.
can't critique Rumble. You absolutely should. I don't think that there's any point at which you look at a company and you say, put it on a pedestal and you
Mhm.
can't criticize it. You should absolutely always criticize. I mean, everyone in general, me, I need criticism too. It helps keep me on the straight and narrow as well. But
Yeah.
if you are online and creating specifically with the mindset of, I want this to be my career,
Uh-huh.
and that is the reason for your creating, then chances are, I hate to say it, probably not going to succeed because anyone who's ever started a business, and I've talked to a lot of them
Mhm.
that have been successful and done it very well, have said, I didn't start the business because I wanted to make money. I started the business because I was passionate about what I was doing.
Mhm.
And through that passion in their business, they created a brand that then would, grow and sell to the customer, the clientele that they were looking for. And
Mhm.
I don't make money off of streaming. I
Mhm.
don't. I don't ask to make money off of streaming. I don't ask people to support the Meisters of Madness channel or anything like that. I'm not paid
Right.
by anybody to host a show. I do it because I love doing it. I love connecting with people. Um,
Mhm.
and if it never grows to be anything more than a small channel on Rumble, I'm happy with that because we have a good time. But
Mhm.
content creators that join on Rumble and then complain about Rumble should do this or that, or they want to be full time, don't ever do anything expecting for it to succeed. If
Mhm.
your goal is money, because in the end, it's going to draw you into failure. You're going to look
Mhm.
at it and you're going to say, eventually, I'm frustrated and I really
Mhm.
don't want to do this anymore. And you're going to hit that breaking point, and it's not going to be fun either.
Yeah.
You're gonna end up you're just hating what you do. And
Yeah.
monetization does exactly that when it draws people in, they start trying to look for what the paths are to success, and instead of creating what they feel passionate about, which could actually lead them to success, they look at what other people have done to create success and try to copycat instead, and
Yeah, or
that's
or
very
play
dangerous.
to, or as with YouTube, play to the algorithm because how many times have you seen the wide mouth thumbnails? How many times have you
Yeah,
seen the wacky the title? I can't play the clickbait game. I really can't. Everything I do, I try to keep within and the reasoning of what I'm doing because yeah, I've said it many times. I'll use YouTube tagging system. Sure, I mean, I think it's on the Creator Studio back in the back end where they say like oh, tags do minimal. It's like, no, no, when you hit
into
the right
life.
tag,
Yeah.
yeah, when you hit the right tag, it will be gigantic,
Mhm.
right? It will hit gigantic. It's just what you're creating and all this stuff. But I mean, yeah, for me, it's sort of the, I mean, I don't everything beyond the conversational point. Everything is a bonus because it can all go tomorrow. I'm sorry to tell you, like the power could go out
Yeah,
tomorrow, and what else do you got, right?
yeah, yeah. No, that's exactly right. If we see one issue with the internet and it
Mhm.
all kinda dissolve, and let's be real, the flow of information is what keeps the modern day society running, so if you even have a week's worth of internet
Mhm.
downtime, there's so many
Mhm.
systems that collapse and the economy itself will just absolutely fall to shreds, and then guess what? The first thing people cut when they have to make sacrifices in their life is the entertainment. The first
Yeah.
thing that goes. So, if you base your life
Mhm.
around what you do as an entertainer, you better be really good at what you do or expect that you're
Mhm.
going to do it as a hobby and be happy with what you do. Exactly,
Yeah.
that's exactly the route that you wanna take so that
Mhm.
you don't get disappointed. Definitely don't wanna hit that road.
Yeah. And a dashboard has a point. Creators are somewhat limited by the capabilities of a platform. So I understand when a creator gets frustrated by the limitation of the platform. Yeah, understandably so. I mean, again, that's been many times with Rumble in its own right. But at the end of the day, though, a lot of people, like you were saying, have to understand it's either a choice between you work so hard, you do put everything you got into it on a hope of a whim, on a hope of a whim that you get to like the people you see almost every time on Twitter X post that they got into Twitch affiliate, which is like, yeah, but once you get in, how long can you sustain it and
Mhm.
to get more? Because it's just y- most people don't understand the cost associated with all the stuff we're doing, right? They don't understand how
Mhm.
much it costs, the bandwidth, the streaming, the servers, and all this stuff. There was someone was on doing Twitch, and they were showing like it cost. That's why they shut down the South Korea part for Twitch, is because it costs them so much to keep over there that they're like, we can't do it anymore. It's just too much for us to do it.
Yeah.
So so there's that. But I get it and all that stuff. Hey, what's going on? Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Sven. Sven of the Fjord. But and again, I don't. For me, I just do this thing. I know that my no, I'm not a great marketer. I know that my thumbnails make pale comparison to like other people who do it. And I've had some people on who do great thumbnails, or the ending and opening videos I use aren't mine, but I enjoy the artist who does,
Mhm.
and I don't get copyright struck for it. The point of the matter at the end of the day is, do you enjoy what you're doing, and would you continue doing it if no money was involved,
Yeah.
or would you simply give up if you can't make that cash flow, right?
Yeah.
And again, part of it is multi-streaming, part of it is more than just beyond streaming itself. Like I know some like sell clothing or whatnot. Like you could professionally sell what you have, like put that on a shirt. It's like, yes, I do look good in a robe, what's your excuse, that sort of thing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
The Meisters of Madness, I do look good in this robe. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I can't wrap my head around it, because I don't I just you start feeling like, again, I don't know what it's called, but you start feeling like a sellout to the thing of like everyone else, like cups. I know some bigness, like Alex Jones or whatever, but you got
Mhm.
cups, you got shirts, you got all this stuff. Understandable, so do what you will. But for me, it's just like, maybe I do a hat, like this, but it's just it's just this internal struggle where like, what am I doing this for if I'm coming to this point, right? Like
Mhm.
I don't want to be deemed as a seller of sorts, if one can say that. That's why if you're
Yeah.
serious about it, you have to treat it like a business and make goals and adjustments along the way, not to mention the cost. Yeah, exactly. Taxes, oh dear lord, I think people forget there are taxes involved and all that you have to write down for it. No toga stream. What? I don't think I could do a toga stream, to be honest. I'm not. It's a little cold where I am, so I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, I mean, and dashboards, right? If you're going to make it a serious business and you're passionate about it, yeah, you better treat it like a business, and you better have the funds available to you to give yourself the time in order to develop it. And just realize that the streaming market is so saturated, because
Oh
think
yeah.
about the people that already want to do it as a career. I mean,
Yeah.
there's millions of them out there. You
Mhm.
don't have millions of people every single day waking up going, I think today I'd like to be a mechanic. I wanna go and I wanna work on cars the rest of my life. And you don't have people going, you know, I think I'd like to drive a dumpster truck the rest of my life, or a
Yeah.
garbage truck for that matter. You don't have that. So those markets
Mhm.
aren't saturated. You can go get that job, you know?
Yeah. Oh, well,
Mm.
and any other trade job out there, because I'm
Mhm.
always looking for people. I mean, some of it's
Mhm.
dangerous. Don't get me wrong. Obviously,
Yeah.
um, but you do see a lot of those things where you see a lot of kids playing Fortnite or Minecraft or whatever. You have a lot of people growing up saying, I want to be the content creator because they can get the big money stuff. But you don't understand that some of these people, they're doing sponsorships, they're doing a whole bunch of things in order to maintain that. Like, you're not going to be Ninja. I'm sorry to
Exactly.
anyone here. Ninja got like 100 million from like, what was it, Mixer, when it was still around, or
Mhm.
something like that, and that went away. Um, or some other content creators. But at the end of the day, though, it's just sort of, it's when you take a step back, right? When you
Yeah.
just take a step back from it all, and you're kind of looking at all that stuff, and you kind of have to chuckle to yourself. It was like, is that the path I really want to take? Is
Yep.
this just all this chasing the money around? Like, man, if it, like you said, if it leads to the capability of being able to rely on it, that'd be great. But it's not the main goal, because you, it almost feels better when it's like an accident rather um than an intentional thing, right? I mean, understandable for the intentional thing. Holds up a regular dude. What? Um, but I mean, that's what I feel, that no one has to feel that way. It'd almost feel better if it was just a natural progression, like you kind of more and more people come and see you, they want more and more, then you kind of progress in there. But if it doesn't happen, it's just one of those things. But if it were to happen, right, or something that mattered, my vision would be is that have like a house sort of thing, and then you have like a guest house, and then in the house you'd have, I don't know if you've ever seen like those butcher tables, right? To have those different kind of multicolored pieces of wood that make that kind of wooden butcher table, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So my vision would be like you have that, and you just have like mic or two for the people, and you would keep, and a majority of the technology would either be your mic and headphones, and that be that. Everything would be behind the scenes because for me, less is more, right? You watch Joe Rogan, it's like he has all those computers there, it's all kerfuffled, all those items. It's like less is more, kind of
Mhm.
breathe room that, right? I mean, but again, the house would be lived in. The guest house would be for people who are coming to kind of stay because hotels are not cheap by any measure. So that's
Right.
yeah. You go to a hotel in another state and it's just like, really, $300 a
Yeah,
night?
and for a single night in a, like a single room studio with a attached bathroom? Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Mm. Well,
That's
I
exactly
I
right.
I I know about Mr. Beast, but I mean, he also did get himself kind of in a pickle a while back. So there's that. But like, with Mr. Beast, I can understand. He also does his philosophical stuff as well.
Mhm,
So I'm not gonna try. That's like that's a rare gem, and it's like a diamond in the rough sort of
mm.
scenario,
Yeah,
right?
it's the so the it's you gotta remember, it's the example of, like, similar to what everybody thinks about when they're a kid. They think
Mhm,
about, "I wanna grow up to be a pro football player. I
yeah.
wanna grow up to be a movie star. I wanna grow up to be an astronaut." Like, we
Uh,
always aim for things that are very prestigious in our minds,
mhm,
but really the only you less than 1% of people achieve those goals. So you
mhm,
have to be realistic with yourself in that if you go into it with a mindset of, "I'd love to be the next Mr. Beast," for example, or
mhm,
something, on the level of sustaining myself with something I love. Understand what you're up against. A market
mhm.
flooded with dreamers.
Oh
This
yeah.
day and time, the idea of being a streamer in a lot of
Um,
kids' minds is the same level as being a pro football player, basketball player,
yeah.
astronaut, you name it. And those markets are so flooded with people who have the same dream,
Mhm,
and the amount of resources available to make those dreams happen are very
mhm,
limited. So
yeah.
if you don't have a realistic expectation of where you could land doing it,
Mhm,
you will set yourself up for failure. So
yeah.
at least in your mind, say, "I'm gonna do something I'm passionate about, and even if I land somewhere mediocre,
Mhm,
I'm going to be happy doing what I do." And just
yeah.
understand that requires you to sacrifice a lot of other things that you could do with your life. It's
Mhm,
and that's the unfortunate reality of life. You've got 24 hours in a day. Time is your most valuable resource, which means you will sacrifice to invest in what you truly dream for.
yeah. Well, I don't regret investing time in this because, again, you may have a lot of podcasters out there and gamers and whatnot, but you don't have a lot of people just reaching across the table and saying,
Mhm,
"Hey, what's going on?" And it's not, and again, creators and non-creators alike. So, but it's a little past the top of the hour. But what I do, or for power hours, I call it. Um, what I do is I set aside time for us to promote ourselves. Now the link should be down in the description below. I can't check it because I can't get out of Rumble Studio because otherwise it's gonna mess things up. But the link should be down for both of us. The link should be down in the description below. But good sir, if you want to promote yourselves, as the kid would say, the floor is yours.
you're talking
If
about
you the
everybody
promo,
in the chat?
yeah, well, no, just promoting your stuff.
Oh,
You can,
promoting
we can,
myself. Well, I
yeah, yeah.
mean, I appreciate that. You,
Mm,
kinda went over it in the beginning, so there's really not much to add to that.
mm,
The only thing I'll say is, if you enjoy a crazy, wacky personality that's unapologetic in everything that I do, that'll be true for any additional creators I know that Meisters wanna bring on
mm,
we're gonna find people with those types of personalities that, are fun. And so
mm,
that would be the reason, come on over, join. And if it's just a chat, there's definitely a lot of that while we're hanging out. So, um, yeah, I'd love to have anybody and everybody, and even if it's just to join in and see that occasionally we put out there that we're going to do a certain game. You're like, that's a game I'd join in on. Yeah, for that reason alone is fine too, because we're here
Yeah.
to build a community.
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't the game I stopped by you on like Star Citizen or something like that? I can't remember what that game was.
Oh,
We played like a space game.
yeah, it was slips my mind now. Void Crew, that's the one.
Oh,
Playing Void
okay.
Crew that night. Yeah, it was a good time. It was something
I've
that Hans introduced me to as well, and that's the other thing is, like, if there's something you haven't seen a lot of gamers do, you're just like, "Hey, I think Omega would play this." You go come in
mm,
and pitch that to me. If
mm.
we can do it, we'll do it.
Yeah, because Hans one of those people where I know he works for like the tech side and stuff, or at least I've heard him talk. Oh, there you go. Look at that. One of my favorite gamers. There you go. Look at that. That's a good rating right there. But yeah, his links are down below. At least the ones I could find that are down below in description. So if he's worth your time, go and check him out and see if he's worth that follow too. Because I know a lot of content creators, they're like, oh, go check this person out and follow them. I'm like, I'd rather their work speak for themselves. There's no better uh um impression for the person than what they do,
Mm,
right? There's no better impression of Mices of Madness than the madness itself. If I
absolutely.
could say that itself.
Absolutely. No, and that really is the key to the name. I mean, Meister is just another way of saying to master something. And
Mm,
so it's just I always encourage people to embrace the madness. And
mm,
it has a lot more meaning than just that, um, which I'll leave for people to ponder over and speculate on. But it's kind of self-explanatory. If you spend a lot of time around me, you'll understand what the madness really is. But it
uh,
I really enjoy people that are unapologetic with their personalities, and that's the way the
mm,
crew wanted it to be, is they're like, "We just want people who are
mm,
invite everybody that just wants to be themselves and
mm.
feel like they can belong to something," and we do. We do. We belong with each other, but, we rated your channel too because, Darren Muth, I've seen you quite a few times. We've dropped in, got to
Oh,
hang out
thanks.
and listen, and, it's always worth because it's a very easy place to come in and hang out and chat, and you have
Mm,
great guests. That's one thing I would say more than anything else, so I told all the Meisters before we rated to be sure to check it out, give you a follow,
yeah,
so, I
yeah,
promote as well, just like you, and we try to get streamers in and promote them because that's what it's
mm,
about, it's building community.
yeah, yeah, definitely that. I mean, I'm just trying to reach. I've never set out to, I guess, build a community way, because I mean you have people like Discord and stuff, and
Mm.
I'm bad at that. I don't see it's just adding on another area of thing you have to do for the social thing to, like, I understand it.
Yeah.
You do what you do for your stuff, but for me it's just like it's taking away mental bandwidth from you, especially I have a full-time job. I have a full-time
Oh, yeah.
job, so that, yeah, so you're taking mental bandwidth away. And so I do have a thing on X, but that's pretty much it. And it's just a place that's just for a hub for people who've been on as a guest. Because I once tried to say, like, it sounds like a vetting process in a sense, because I do another show called Dare's Hangout Den, which I bring people on who've been guests before in any manner. And I kind of cross pollinate them over with another, because they probably be people you thought you'd never meet before, or
Mm.
have the opportunity. So that's sort of what that is. And I was at it wasn't for Dare Sango Den, but it was for my Rumble Squared. I had like six other yeah, five other people to meet. And I found out during the stream that two of those people live in the same state.
Wow.
So you have that, yeah, and they're just like, they were an hour from each other. I'm like, why did it have to be at this show though?
Yeah, right?
So that's one of the things that it's allowed me, is that this ability to kind of cross pollinate people with over, and it don't have to be
Mm.
gaming. Like, majority of these people, big chunk of these people weren't gaming. One was a sewer, one was a VTuber of sorts. Two were one was a gamer, one's a producer for a very political talking show. Um, Oh man, if one was attacked, but he plays games as well. I mean, it's just there's a whole abundance of people you get to meet through the process, and
Yeah.
I know a lot of great people. Some people I've had on a few, very few people were like trying to get water out of the stone. But at the end of it, it's one of those things. Keeping awesome. Oh, thank you, good sir. Thank you. I
It's always
appreciate
good.
it. You have a good
Podub
one.
drops in, with us too. I love
Hey.
Podub. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, have a good one. But yeah, oh yeah, for my end of things. So I can't bring up the text scroll at the bottom because it doesn't allow that in the app. So I'll just do my old-fashioned way. Um, uh, whether you're on, well, actually, no, it is just Rumble. So guys, if you're here on the Rumble and watching, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, reposting the content because you can do that now, or leaving a comment or um, a follow because anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated, guys. We all know that creators want to be seen more, part of that ordeal, but the other part of it is too is having other people on as guests. Like there have been people on who've been a guest and they have had people following them come up, and some of those people have been guests. So you have this huge pool of people to pull from, followers or whatnot. And so I've been very grateful for that. So any help with the engagement factor, um, I would say on either end, but I'm not streaming there now. So, and I'll be uploading this once this video is done, stream is done processing. It will be uploaded to the YouTube side because I do try to keep all my content on both ends because, trust. I'm not speaking against. I don't have some faith in Rumble, but to trust one platform with all your stuff, seen a lot of signs. It's never a good idea.
Right.
So that's what I do for that. But I also have a link down below if you want to take a look and gander at that. That will have my other places like Twitter X, the Discord, email, all that stuff. You can find me at those places. And if you want to take up the opportunity coming on, guess what? There's a comment box down below or the link description down below as well. Any and all do. I've had one person reach out to me through the links that come on the show. So the opportunity is there, but I use that example because I think sometimes people either a little leery or afraid or whatever. So, or they may not have a Twitter X. So there's that. But yes, any help with the engagement and the link down below. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate it because this was going to be an interesting time trying to do it from the app while I'm waiting for my PC to get so I can have it back.
I'll tell you, creating is so much easier on a PC for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't tried the mobile. I mean, I saw it, advertised obviously when they had the Rumble Creator House,
Mm.
but even still, a mobile phone just can't do what a PC does.
Well, yeah. So I created my thumbnail through Canva, which they do have a mobile app,
Mhm.
which is great. I created my through that, and so it's kind of a bit of an adjustment, but I did get it because I do have pretty much my template is the same except for the profile picture of my guest and maybe some wording. Sometimes the guest will have their name in their profile picture, so I don't have to put up any wording underneath. But so it's pretty. I have gotten to the point when I was on desktop, I've gotten to the point where I can get maybe, and I don't have to create a new template for each person to have on, but it helps in counting how many people I've had on. So there's
Yeah.
that because I've set myself back to like 100 over 130 guests, but I haven't recently counted yet. So I'm like, where am I at now?
Well, and especially just to know, because I mean, given how many people that you have come through and be guests on your show, I'm sure it's hard to keep up with, "Oh, have I had them before?" Do I remember that?
No, to a degree, yes, yes. I was building but again, I can go back through my collection of
Mm.
library and see what I had on. I've I've had one guest on block me already, so I don't think they'll be coming back anytime soon. And some people don't talk to me anymore, or even if I try, because I do DMing through Twitter X, that's how we
Mm.
communicated. But some people just it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I'd be like, you know what? That's fine. There are a million more people out there I can
Mhm.
reach out to, and there and a million. I was like this with one person. If I could have on a million people, right? A million people on. Do you know how much of content that would take up?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
imagine like all the weekdays, right? If all the weekdays you could, that maybe not a holiday involved or whatever, all the weekdays, it would not fill up enough. It would take your lifetime to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It it for me, when I saw other content creators, invite guests on, it would take them almost a year or half a year to have the amount of guests I've had on with just maybe like was it 3, maybe 4 to 5, well, 4 to 5 months, yeah, 4 to 5 months, because I'm having people on like uh one a one a day for the weekend. So this isn't finished, but this is my calendar for February.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
you've got a
talking
full schedule there just in the 2 weeks coming up.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I always, and the thing of it is too is, a funny thing is that before the 2 weeks before the new month comes up, I always worry that I won't be able to fill it. I don't have to fill it. There's no quandary or need to fill it, but
Yeah.
it's like I have the biggest opportunity to reach out to people and have them on as guests, no matter what they are, no matter who they are.
Mm.
Um, and why not? Why
Yeah,
not take up the
exactly.
opportunity to fill it up? Why not? But yeah, my next milestone is 200 different guests, but I also have to count how many guests I've had on so far before,
Right, right.
because I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But no, yeah, for those who don't know, I think it was through the Pay It Forward that I first met you, or I think
Mhm.
or it was a Hans. I can't remember which is which, because
Well, I know
that's
you
yeah,
rated through the Pay It Forward,
yeah,
for sure. You know, we had
yeah,
some chat conversation,
yeah,
when you rated, which was really awesome.
yeah,
But yeah, Hans and I are pretty close, so he might have mentioned me just because he
yeah,
likes, trolling me, number 1, but no, he's just a nice guy in general, so
yeah. He can be very soft spoken when he wants to be,
mhm.
but when he wants to be, I'm watching you, Hans. Um, then it says like it gets some DM later. It's just like, oh man, I was just joking around. Come on. Um, but yeah, it's a crazy thing, and the drama. Oh, oh Lord, the drama between content creators. Holy heck.
Yeah.
I feel at a loss for it. I don't know what you see, but okay, no, thank you.
No, I've seen plenty of it, especially
Mm,
and I wish it wasn't the case, but,
mm,
you know, it's pretty prevalent here on Rumble because it's a little smaller community, so you're more apt to see it.
mhm,
Um, and it's sad because really what it boils down to is it's comparison, right? And
mhm,
people do this in general. You're always yeah, I talked about this the other day. You're always either elevating someone to above you or you're denigrating them to below you. And when you make those comparisons, it affects how you think about them subconsciously a lot of times. You may not even have anything against them, but say
yeah,
you see somebody on a platform, you're like, gosh, they've got a ton of followers, and you drop in their stream, and your first impression is a little bit negative. Your instant
mhm,
desire in your heart is to go, well, I want to put them down because I could do
mm,
better than that, you know, or
mhm,
I would be more entertaining than that. Um, and that's what initially in most people's cases creates the drama. It's a
mm,
comparison. And
yeah,
if we don't realize from the get-go before we get into that arena
mhm,
that, guys, we're humans. We
mhm,
are sinful, fallen beings, and we are
mhm,
inevitably imperfect and going to screw up. And if somebody opened
mhm,
up the book of your life and read through it, you think they would be thinking highly of you? They wouldn't think highly of me. I promise you that. So you've got to
yeah,
presuppose yourself to the idea that when you walk into somebody else's stream, it's like
mhm,
walking into their living room. They're presenting you a version of themselves that they want you to see, and you're not gonna like
mhm,
everything, but guess what? They're not gonna like everything about you, and that's why grace
mhm,
exists, is so that
mhm,
you can look at them and say, "I may not like this about them, but they're human. Therefore, they're
mhm,
automatically going to fail my expectations, and I can't set them to any standard higher or lower than where I am
mhm.
in my life." And that's the reality of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. I've done the sort of comparison of like, I wish is kind of at that level, whatever. then I have to bring myself back with the question of like, why am I doing this, right? Like,
Mhm.
if I'm going to compare myself to say like those who have 1,000 or 2,000 followers, then I have to pull back and say, okay, so why am I doing this content creation? Why am I even here? Why am I doing? Am I doing it to compare myself, or am I doing because I see an opportunity where I can reach across thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, whether they're a creator or not, and I get to have a conversation about whatever comes my way. I am not restricted by topics. I am not restricted by, the news of the day, like a majority of creators are.
Right.
I am free. I'm like I've made the comparison once where like Sound of Music. I'm on the hill. I'm seeing the hills alive and all that stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Don't ask me to finish that rendition. It's not gonna work.
That's okay. My impressions are
But
terrible too, so I get you.
it's making me sing a Julie Andrews song. It's not gonna work. But yeah, it's like you have to, I have to remind myself those numbers are great and all, and I may not have like the biggest view numbers, whatever. But the point of the matter is, I get to reach across a table that's so long and fast. Who else can I find that's doing this thing? Now,
Yeah.
I will say, I don't know how long it was ago, but there was, I know you've heard of Conan O'Brien, right?
Oh, yeah.
The talk show host. So when he finished his show, he actually went to podcasting, right? That's
Mhm.
his thing now. And there was a commercial or something I saw where he was doing this thing where he's traveling to different places and all this stuff. And I was looking into it, and it was actually he was going to some homes to have people who listen to his podcast. I'm like, hold on a second, hold on a second. You're telling me the guy has a podcast show and using his own resources, right, or whatever he gets paid by the sponsorships, he is going to some of these places that are of his followers, and he's going to where they live and seeing how they live and all this. You're telling me someone's doing that? I'm like, that's insane. That's
Yeah.
insane. You don't even see Joe Rogan do that.
No.
And I was like, why isn't more doing? I understand this, safety stuff and all that because it's Conan O'Brien. But it's like, why aren't there more people doing that if they have the resources to do it, right? Just
Yeah.
imagine the amount you can, people complain about not, the politics and all stuff, but you have an opportunity if you have the resources to, he's a comedian as well. So you have the opportunity to joke, you have the opportunity to have conversation, you have the opportunity to see where people are at on the ground floor. I think it's one of the biggest missed points by people is that a majority of life is on the ground floor, right? There are
Right.
people who may go up, maybe like the Eiffel Tower or something like that, whatever. But a majority of people are on the ground floor. Like you were talking about, garbage collectors, even
Mhm.
people who aren't garbage collectors. There are a lot of people on the ground floor,
Mhm.
and there are a lot of missed opportunities there that you could have someone like Conan O'Brien pick a few people out of this ordeal and travel to their homes. I think there was one like he traveled like Norway or something because it was very cold. He traveled to these people's homes and he visited them at their place of residence. Now, obviously, blurring stuff out or whatever to make sure not to dox them or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's visiting these people out of whatever wealth he has. He's visiting these people because they listen to his podcast. Who do you see doing that?
You
Who?
don't.
It,
You
it
don't.
it blew my mind. And so for me, I can't do that. But I'm like, with technology, I can talk to someone in the UK, Germany, Australia, Alaska, and all this stuff. And sort of able to travel and talk to these people. I'm just like, it's so beautiful. And yet we know that these tools we create have a duality to them, not because
Mhm.
tools have an innate duality, but we give them a duality
Right.
because it's us using them. It's sort of like the whole gun discussion, right? Like, oh,
Mhm.
guns kill or whatever. No, no, no. It's the person behind it because a gun on its own cannot act in any accordance,
Yeah.
right? So a big great example would be you could go out, you could bury a gun, and you can leave it there. Okay, so how long is it going to be before the gun digs itself out of the hole? And it's not a very deep hole,
Right.
it's a shallow hole, right? You could say someone will find it and someone will shoot it. Sure, that's fine. But how big is the odds for that? It's
Right.
buried maybe like a few inches underneath. So you have this thing where it doesn't. it doesn't make sense for that. It's not the tool, it's the person behind the tool, and it always will be because we create things that are an extension of our duality,
Oh, yeah. I
which is
mean,
which
we've
is the
known this
yeah.
for all of human history, right? It didn't matter what
Mm,
age that you were in, the tools which were created for war were created by
mm,
people who intended for the thing they were going to do. If it was bare hands and we never
mm,
invented any tools for war, it would be the same
mm,
result. There's nothing
mm,
going to stop people from doing evil that's in their
mm,
hearts. That's just the reality of it. They'll find the tools, whether it's their own hands
mm,
or the most advanced technology in the world to do so. And you can
mm,
create harm and injury to people even without ever seeing them in person nowadays. So just to
yeah.
say that it's a gun or it's the knife or whatever the case may be, that you need to get rid of those things in order no, it's never gonna stop.
Mm-mm.
It's never gonna
There,
stop.
you let's put it this way: your house has more dangerous weapons in it than ever.
Yeah.
You have chlorine, you have toilet cleaning products. How many of those products you have in your for cleaning your bathroom and stuff are poisonous alone,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, you got. I mean, at a certain point, you have to realize, wow, I live in a death trap.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we've forgotten about the fact that, in history, people stoned people to death because they
Mm,
violated some religious belief, you know?
mm,
So to say that
mm,
guns would eliminate no, they wouldn't, because if we figured out a way as humans do throughout history
mm,
to execute people, which is murder,
mm,
just guised
mm,
under some sort of religious belief to make it okay, um, it will
mm.
continue, Child sacrifice has been a thing in almost every culture throughout history,
Yeah.
and we don't look at we America has a child sacrifice culture. I don't know if if everyone agrees with that, but abortion
Mm,
for the sake of what? Making someone's life less inconvenient for the choices they made? That's
mhm,
child sacrifice. What are you sacrificing to? You're sacrificing to the god of convenience because
mhm,
you made a decision, got pregnant or got your girl pregnant or someone you made a one night stand with pregnant,
mhm,
and now you don't wanna deal with those consequences. So you
mhm,
sacrifice to the god of convenience, make your life
mhm.
a little bit better.
Well,
Murder is murder no matter what, and we will find a way to murder if
mhm.
it
Well,
conveniences us.
not even that, but you have people who shouldn't even be parents, and they like the beauty pageants. You have all these different. You have these people who who are parents, and that you hear the abuse stories and all this stuff. You have a lot of people, past abortion. You have this thing where people shouldn't be a parent, and yet they are,
Mm,
and they do in a way sacrifice their kids. They're still alive in
right.
a sense, but they sacrifice the time of their kids, and it becomes this expanse where it just passes along down the road, and then they pass that along, and so you create a slide of for the convenience. I mean, again, that there's a whole lot within that umbrella,
Oh,
but you
yeah.
slide off this line of convenience, and you don't realize the impact, and you're not always going to be able to because you can't see in the future, right? But
Right.
you don't take a step back to think, is this how I'm supposed to be or whatever? And this is not a judgment on people who are parents. I mean, I can't tell you how to be a parent. It's just an observation of the sort of thing of talk about sacrifice. It doesn't have to also involve just abortion. It can involve while the kid's alive and their time and their growth and all. How many kids do you have in orphanages and whatever, and they're just kind of displaced because of that. If it's not abortion, and then it's in an orphanage, and then that
Right.
that could be even worse because there are stories out there where kids through certain things have been used for the trades in that manner.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
A-
mean,
And,
you are kind of giving them over to you I guess a better way of putting it is you have a hand in what happens not only to them, but to the people they influence later on. We think so little of responsibility this day and time that we don't even take account for how we affect like if for example like you're saying say you gave up your responsibility to the child, put them in
mm,
foster care or an orphanage, and through the
mhm,
pain that you've inflicted in that child's life, they then go on to inflict pain in other people's lives, and you think you have no responsibility in that? I disagree.
Mm. Well, not only that, but you imagine you have parents who can't watch the kids all the time, and they are sending them off to being babysat, whatever. And
Mhm,
some of these places, been in the news where you have those babysitters abusing the kids and all this stuff, and you have this sort of thing where it, there are so many ways to distraught someone, to destroy someone, to corrupt someone, and all this stuff.
mhm.
But there are only so few ways to better, or at least the viewpoint is there are only so few ways to better or whatever, because you see the news as things. Now, again, you don't have to trust the news always because there's always that exaggeration and hyperbole or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's very, at times it's very difficult. But you do see those things where it's just like, what is this? Like, what's going on here? Why is this a thing? And then you begin to realize that some people are, the working jobs, they're trying to provide for the family, but they do sacrifice something in the process. And I
Yes,
think there's not just one answer to the solution. There's so many variables to why the thing is. That's another thing in itself, is where in life there's not just one solution. I mean, yeah, you could say God or whatever, but to talk about the leaving kids at the babysitting or all this stuff, there's not just the one solution of why that exists in that arena. There's so many variables to this, and I think people. Um, yeah, I think people try to look for that one solution, or the one thing to blame, but they have to
mhm.
realize that there's so many things throughout one's life that, while maybe not able to pinpoint, but there's too much to blame on just one thing,
Yeah,
right? There's just
absolutely.
too much to blame.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think that's why everyone is looking at how do you solve the world's problems,
Mhm,
and looking for someone else. Let's be real, right?
yeah,
We're looking for someone else to do it when
mhm,
in reality that responsibility falls on the individual. And I
mhm,
know that people are like, well, we could solve this problem or that problem if we would just collectively get together and take care of it.
mhm,
You won't. I hate to say it, you never will. Because if we would, we're the most educated and wealthy in the history of the world that we've ever
mhm,
been. And we have more slaves today in the world than any other point in history. So if anything, wealth
mhm,
and education has caused more issues than less.
mhm,
It boils down to you as an individual taking responsibility, like you mentioned, not just in the one thing, but in each and every step of the process of your life. And if you don't take the
mhm,
time to slow down and examine yourself and what you are opening yourself up to is a single person, as a married person, as a person in a
mhm,
relationship, or as a family,
mhm,
you are missing out on the things that are making bigger impacts than you could ever imagine in the future of the
mhm.
world.
Yeah, the points of, like, random acts of kindness, whatever.
Mhm,
The point of the matter is that I think, again, it comes to the point of smelling the roses, as it were,
mhm.
because I do think, because as technology goes on, we kind of get lost in the noise of it, right? Like, it's
Yeah,
sort of like going to New York, all the taxis and all this stuff. Sort of like New York, where all the noise is there, and there's not a moment of quietness because you're surrounded by it day in, day out. And I think that for a majority of us, that's sort of what life is like, right? We're surrounded by
yes,
the noise. We take, if you are, if you're single or married, you're taking care of yourself or your uh, partner, married, whatever. And if you have kids, you have to take care of that. There's a lot of other things that take up not only the mental bandwidth, but your time as well. And that's another thing too, is like, as you as a kid, you never had to worry about time management. As an adult, you're like, what the hell?
absolutely. As a kid, you're just like, "I don't want the day to end. I've had too much fun." As an adult, you're like, "I can't wait until this is over."
I can't wait. You can't tell me how many times I can't tell you how many times that I've heard when at my job is like, oh, I'm glad it's Friday. It's like, you do
Yeah,
realize that it's just a long break till Monday, right? And it'll be Monday. Not soon after
right.
that fact. And you're just like, I don't know what you're excited for. Yeah, I get an extended break, but then it's gonna be Monday again.
Yeah. That's and I'm definitely with you on that experience of
mm,
I've come to the point in my life where I realize, yeah, it's just a longer break till we do it
mm,
all again. And
mm,
so if you don't take the time to find the things that you're meant to do in the everyday, like we
mm,
talked about with streaming, if you're not passionate about that, if it's not something you enjoy and you set your expectations the correct way, you're going to end up disappointed. That's life. The
mm,
reason that people want the dream job is they think that it takes you out of the everyday that is, to most people, so monotonous. But if you just take
yeah.
time to realize what's going on all around you, there's a lot more purpose in your life than you would imagine that there could be. But you're missing it
Mm,
because you're too busy thinking about what you don't have or what's coming up that you haven't gotten to yet.
mm. Or are the Packers going to win against the Chargers? But
Right?
that's a totally different story. Um, but yeah, it's just a funny thing is when you're in it, right? Or it's
Mm,
sort of like when you're on the ground floor, because there was a point I was working a job, and of course, there was they had a tall building, and there's like a penthouse at the top, and I was doing event work, so I could set up tables or whatever for an event. And when you go up to like the high floor where the penthouse is, you could see cities upon cities, just the stretch of it. Because in a clear
mm,
day, right? Cloudy day, not so much, but on a clear day, you could see cities, counties, and cities next over, and just like that's part of the issue too, is we don't always get to see the big picture. We don't, like you said, we
right.
don't always take a moment to breathe. And so you kind of have to
Mm,
take that moment, whether it's to, get on a not saying you should climb a tall building and do something like that. I don't want you to get hurt, but just something of that
I
nature
can just
where,
see right now somebody going, "Ah, I need to climb a skyscraper."
what does that Spider-Man dude again? Get him off. Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
But no, you're absolutely right. It's the lack of perspective that we have a lot of time. You're absolutely right about that.
And this is what makes this so great, is because that makes up for that lack of perspective. Even if you're not on a tall
Mm,
building or a high hill, it makes up for the lack, because you are now getting another piece of a viewpoint you thought you may never have, whether it be
mm,
similarities or differences. And I think those can kind of play well together depending on it, but the differences are what make up for the lack of not seeing beyond, sort of like seeing beyond your own nose, right? Like everything in
mm,
life is right here, but seeing beyond it is a totally different story. Totally different story.
yeah.
But whether you take up that opportunity not to do it, it's just difficult for some people. I understand. Not a lot of people are conversationalists. I've dealt with a few, but when you're willing to take up the opportunity to try, right? That's the important key thing right there, is to try. Because if you don't try and see for yourself, then you'll always be stuck in that compartmentalization of,
Yeah.
this is where I'm at. This is where I'll always be. That's the thing. Look, all I can tell you is, if it's sort of like what I've told people before, is like you are on a time clock. You don't know exactly when you clocked in, but you'll never know when you'll clock out.
Mhm.
So why take the wait? That's kind of a funny way to do it, because I always think of like those time cards where they like put it in the machine and just
Yeah,
punches out
punch
and it
it.
pull
Yeah.
instead of the card now, some places have a card, you just put it as like, oh, I'm in.
You'll punch
Always think
in,
about
but
them.
you'll never be the one to punch out, that's for sure.
He said it here first, people. He said it here first. That's his. It's copyrighted.
Yeah, it's
Copyrighted.
yours, Daramuth, that's right, it's yours.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't think I'll remember it. I'll have to go back over the stream tonight. Um,
Write it down before it goes away. Hans, it's funny, one
I
of my
just,
first
I
streams with
just,
Hans, he was giving me rules for gaming, and I was like, "Hold on, I gotta write that down," and Hans said, "You're doing it wrong. You're not supposed to write it on paper, you're supposed to write it on your heart." I was like, "Okay, you got me, brother. You got me."
Whoa,
Uh,
wait, was that rule number 1 and number 3? I can't. Hold on a second.
exactly. I think we got up to 9 or something, and I couldn't remember, but maybe 2 of them. Um,
Sort of reminds me of Calvin Ball, where you could just make up
mm.
the rules as you go. It's like, wait a second. I think that's a rule you made up.
Yeah, no, that's exactly
Oh
right.
goodness.
You know, one of the things that, I think was transformative in my life as I got older was
Mhm,
I heard I heard something that made a lot of sense, and it was a lived experience of someone who
mhm,
said, "You know, it's always those who have a lot that seem to complain the most, and it's the ones that don't have hardly anything at all that are the most grateful for what they do hold, right? Um,
mm,
and it's so true. If you talk to people that don't have a lot,
mm,
what they do have, they express a lot of gratitude for. Like
mm,
you're having a conversation and they talk about the things they enjoy. They talk about what they love about life and their situation. But if you
mm,
ever sit down with people who have a lot, they're always talking about what they're searching for or what they're trying to get to, or they're
mm,
discontent with things that are happening around them. Very seldomly do you sit down with people who have a lot and they talk about all their gratitude. And the ones that you do
mm.
that you sit down with and they do have a lot of gratitude, they generally don't show off what they really have, right? They've earned a lot,
Yeah.
but it's not there. It's not on display. But the ones
Mm,
that do, where they display everything and you think there's all this grandeur to them, you hear them
mm,
complain or talk about what they're looking to achieve or what their goals are. Um,
mm.
Not that that doesn't help make them successful, it absolutely does, but you don't hear a lot of
Yeah.
gratitude. Um, and I think that's because they are, like we were talking about, caught up in everything that's going on. There's too much noise going on, and
Mm,
it can be hard, and I think that's why you see it's hard for successful people to be happy because
mm,
they don't know that maybe they've lost their way along the path, and they don't know what they were searching for to begin with. They've kind of lost sight
right.
of who they are, and, people who don't have a lot, they know what they cherish 'cause they don't have a
Mm,
lot. So it's like, I love these things, so I always want these people or
mm,
these experiences, and it's generally people, right? That they want those around all the time because that's what they cherish and what they give everything they have for.
yeah.
Which is, why I think a lot of times you and I probably when we talk to everyday people, we get more
Mm,
out of it because the perspective's better. They're not lost,
mm,
to the things we're searching
mm.
for on a consistent basis.
Right. Yeah. Well, I will say there are instances where that's not always the case because you have those people who like never had much before and they win the lottery and
Mhm.
they're spending it on like jet skis and Lamborghinis. So you do you
Oh,
do
yeah.
you do have those moments where it can be in the opposite play, but I do agree in a sense where there's a sense of there can be a sense of where gratitude is less seen and more of discontent. I think would be a good word. Like there's not a lot of contentment at times, and it's understandable why people would want to go further and stuff like that. I mean, I think if people
Mm,
have an ordeal they want to go further, they have the opportunity and freedom to do so. But there is a point where there is that something of discontent, and you're just going beyond the scope in order to settle that, I guess, hunger or a growing hole or whatever you want to call it. Because again, there is a point where you do have to ask yourself, "Am I content with this?" Because
mm,
yes, you could do something and keep going and going and going and going and have maybe be content that way and you're still growing and stuff. And you can also do that, but also being the opposite way of the feeling of. You could have content or discontentment. And I
mm.
think to some degree we kind of build a lot of things in order to find which feels that discontentment more to
Yeah.
some degree, right?
Yeah.
You could say like on the stream end, like drugs and stuff, because that's usually one.
Yeah. Or
But you could
power,
also
money, sex.
pull
Yeah.
power, oh yeah, all the good stuff.
Mhm.
Uh,
Those are kind of
uh,
the extremes, right? Like, when you get to that level.
it's like most people I knew with everything were not very pleasant to be around. Just saying, yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I don't disagree with all. I just know that that's not always the case, and that's one thing I've tried to
True.
better myself on is the form of hyperbole. Because again, when you're going back to like the creator thing where they're using clickbait well, not. Oh, I'm sorry, I want to take that back. A lot of the times, and I'm sure you've seen this on like Twitter X too, just as a great example, you will see people use very finale words. Like I've seen people who are sort of in like the entertainment, doing the entertainment content, like watching movies, whatever, and they'll say, "No one watched that movie, no one played that game," and
Mm,
so on and so forth. I'm just like, that's not the case because the wording and what it's used for is quite different than what you're trying to obtain for it. So there was There were people I had seen a movie, and there were people talking about like no one saw this movie. If it flopped in the box office, sure, but not no one saw it. People did see it, but it wasn't enough. That's the difference of what confounds me. Is like I get why you use these exact. Maybe you use it on a business scale, right? Where business is like, no one saw it. I can understand that, but you're not the business. You're someone who's doing this stuff for content, and I'm
Mhm.
seeing this thing where you're using these finale words that don't make sense to use. I'm not, and I've had to try to, you know, kind of wash myself on it because I don't want to use these finale words that have a meaning, right? No one, all, or whatever. These words that have a finale extreme to them, or whatever. Using them on a scale of where it's not really necessary doesn't make sense, but it makes you the exaggeration, hyperbole, and stuff, and it confounds me because I'm like, that doesn't make sense because that's not true. And you have these people out there who are content creators who are saying, I'm trying to speak on truth. I'm like, but you're using a finale word, so I don't know what you're trying to say.
Well, it's interesting because the fact of the matter is we were all created to have a relationship. That's what
Uh,
we are designed for.
uh,
So if you think about it, the thing that people hate the most, it isn't negative publicity. The
mm,
thing that's even worse than that is to be ignored altogether. Because if you think about even a child tells you everything about the human heart that you really need to know. One,
mm,
that they want attention, good or bad.
mm,
They don't care as long as they're getting attention.
mm,
They'll
mm,
fight for attention. And two, that you don't have to teach people to be you don't have to teach them evil. You don't have to teach them what's
mm,
wrong because they already know innately. You don't have to tell your kid how to lie. Did you ever have to teach
mm,
your kid how to lie? No, they picked that up on their own.
mm,
Um, so what we see with, especially going back to what we were talking about with people that are unpleasant to be around, and how there's differences in some rich people, some people who have everything they want are
mm,
you see that they have true joy and they're grateful for a lot, but the majority of them probably aren't. What was lost along the way most of the time was they started seeking people's attention and something got that attention, but they
mm,
lost the relationships along the way or the desire for relationship that was
mm,
giving them the purpose that they sought. But
mm,
because we're designed for relationships, because that's what we crave in life,
mm,
if we don't cherish and have good, strong relationships, we a lot of times will
mm,
find unhappiness and we'll start seeking attention in whatever way we can, whether it's good or bad. And most of the time it's
mm.
negative in order to
Yeah.
fill that because that's what we're
Mm,
seeking ultimately. And that's why I struggle even personally a lot of times with thinking about people's opinions because I want attention, right? But I have to
mm,
continue to remind myself I am here to build relationships, and relationships, when they're done right, are what are
mm,
going to ultimately satisfy what the heart is craving.
mm. Well, yeah, and it's sort of like I mean, YouTube is a great example of that. Everyone wanting the spotlight, right? Like
Mm,
it's called YouTube for a reason.
mm,
You- and
absolutely.
and so you kind of take that and then of course you have Twitch and all this stuff where in the content creation field where everyone wants a form of attention, whether it's for
Yeah,
the fame of it, I guess, or the ads and the money that comes out of it, sort of thing. There's a whole bunch of reasons why people want that, but then it becomes, is it true or is it false? Because it's using a barrier, right? Like
yeah,
you're in some other state, I'm in some other state, and we're using this barrier to talk to each other. Whether or not we'll meet in real life depends on if I have the finances or not. But that's a different story.
yeah,
But but yeah, you do kind of start thinking about how again we're at this thing where we use this tool and there is a sort of barrier to it because unless you've met the person before, then it is yes, we're here, we're talking, we're having a great time, but there still is a form of a barrier because we're not right across from each other at the table, which is kind of the sucky part. But regardless, therein lies that discussion to have as well. But you're not wrong on that relationship factor because people do seek a form of companionship, whether it be the marriage route, whether it be friendship, platonic route, whether it be in the work, whatever. Work friendships kind of hard because it's not like The Office.
Mhm.
Not every not every friend relationship is like not every work relationship is like The Office. It's not how that works in life.
No, it definitely
Um,
isn't. That's right.
so, but and I mean, you can. It's possible to make good friendships there too. It's
Mhm.
just it's a ground where you're kind of forced to kind of interact with people
Yeah.
because your job depends on it. When you get
Mhm.
past the point, then you can see whether it's a true friendship or not. Same with thing I think with content creation, where some people when they get big enough, they have those cons and all that stuff. And so you're wondering if they're friends or they're just followers. And that's
Right.
another thing in its own right. Is are you are you a fan or are you no are you how should I word it? Because I think a fan and follower has two different meanings, but I think they kind of can be the same thing. So I'm
Yeah,
not sure if I want to wear.
they can be
So
right, a true
are you
fan is
no
somebody who's devoted to
yeah.
I would say a true fan is someone who's devoted to not just being there, but also knowing you. A follower is someone who just they
Mhm.
don't care to know you personally, but they like your content, so they come in and they hang out and
Yeah.
move on when it's time, you know?
Well, no, I was about to say the difference between friend and follower, right? I probably
Oh, there you go.
I was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
think how to say
Mhm,
between a friend and follower because fan is sort of in that middle field, but it can be more on the follower side. So you do have that, but there's a difference of between friend and follower because you don't really know most of the time because um, again, it's a jumbled. It's like a varied bag of nuts, right? You get that container.
mhm.
There's Brazil nuts. There's cashew nuts. It's sort of what life is like a bit. Is that you get this multivariate nuts. And you're not sure who's a good nut and who's a bad nut. To
Yeah,
use that Willy Wonka reference.
yeah. No, and that's a great example because when we think about friendships, we in our heads, we imagine someone who you can
Mm,
trust, that
mm,
they're not there to get something from you, but they're there to add something to your life, which you would hope
yeah.
is in the
Mm,
reverse too. I would want for me to add something to my friend's life, not just
yeah.
take from them. It should always be a
Yeah.
two-way street. But, a
Yeah.
follower is just there specifically because they're getting something from you, right? That's why they show
Mm,
up.
mm.
Um, so yeah, distinguishing that I think is important.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially if you get someone like big and then they have those cons and all that stuff because it's usually just all the people are for the people on stage,
Mhm,
and they'll be friendly, but are they a friend? Can
mhm.
you consider the person you follow, the content creator or the star or whatever? Can you consider them an actual friend? And I think very
Mhm.
few people could say that
Yeah,
remark. He,
because realistically, majority of the time I mean, how many people do some of these stars have? They have thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. They don't have time for all of
mm-hmm,
those. So,
mm,
are they gonna be your friend? Chances are, doing the odds and the math, probably not.
yeah,
Probably not a
yeah,
friend, you know? Um, so you have to weigh that in your mind and make sure that you again, you gotta go back and do a self-check, what is it that they're really here for? And I'm probably not one of those people in their inner circle, so I'm a follower, not a and he's not my friend, or she's not my friend.
yeah.
But
I
will
would,
they be
I
friendly? Absolutely.
yeah. I'm not sure how good I am of a friend or follower, but I do try to uh, do my best. I mean, it's kind of hard because I've got so many people I've had on. It can discontent self. But I like what Hans is like. Hans is like life is like a box of nuts. You never know what you're gonna get until you reach around.
You never know what kinda nut you're gonna get, right, Hans? Because everybody's a nut, that's for sure. Oh,
Oh goodness gracious. I'm pretty sure I'm already there. But anyway, we are getting close to the end of it's almost the 2 hour mark, and I think we're gonna end it there. Because I do have to get tomorrow's stream. Gonna have a long night ahead of me. But anyway, we'll do our promotion thing first. Uh get that off. Do our promotion thing first hold on, and then we'll talk about who's on next, and then we'll do my last thing. So if you want to promote your show, sir, go for it.
Well, I'll just say something in the chat if you wanna click on my icon, channel's there, and,
Hmm.
again, we're here to build community. We welcome anybody if it's just a chat or it's a game. Uh, I love building relationships with people. It's what I feel
Hmm.
like I was designed to do. It's what we're all designed
Hmm.
for, but I
Hmm.
specifically enjoy doing it. So feel free to come
Hmm.
in, hang out with us, even if it's just to watch and laugh at my goofiness. I'll take that too. So, but yeah, much
And
appreciated
point out.
doing this. It's been I mean, honestly, a real pleasure. I knew I'd enjoy
Mhm.
this, but I enjoyed it a lot more than even I anticipated. So, really
Yeah, well,
grateful for the opportunity to sit down with you and just chat.
oh yeah, thank you for taking the opportunity. Uh, I was, I was gonna say, well, they'll probably just sit and point out your mistakes. Like, yeah, yeah, I get it.
Hey, or troll me the way Hans does. That's totally fine. I've got steady followers, that just come in to troll me all the time. So and I love it. I do. I really do. I love it.
We call that the Hans method.
Yes, it's the Hans effect. He started it for
Yeah, the
sure.
yeah, the Hans. And whenever Hans comes in the chat, you're like, "Oh, here comes the Hans effect, dear Lord, not again." Oh man, but yes, it's if you guys want to, his links are down below. Give him a look, and if he's worth that follow, give it to him because guy enjoys what he does, and I think that's the biggest part of all is when you enjoy what you do, regardless of all the extra bonuses. I think that's where the true value lies because at the end of the day, like you said, we're sort of in this place where we have the greatest ability to reach across from far distances, but we don't use it real well. And there's a whole bunch of different ways we use it. So if he's worth your follow, go give it to him because he's doing something really fun and he has fun doing it. So why not either make fun of him or have fun with him? There's two options right there for you. Two options.
Absolutely.
Uh, it's fun to see him more relaxed Omega. Oh my. Oh, so I guess you're not as relaxed as you seem to think you are.
It gets pretty intense. It's a good time.
uh, Oh goodness, but yes, and of course, for my end of things, I know I usually would be on both Rumble and YouTube, but unfortunately, I couldn't make that happen through the app. But regardless of that, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, reposting, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated. Because again, like always, not only does it help in creators being seen, but it also helps in bringing on more people as guests, like Meister, like Hans himself, like UB Legend, like the real Tommy, like so many other people. And that's the point is to try to reach across the valleys and chasms we think there are. Just kind of talk to the person across. Well, I sort of think of it like I'm in an old diner. I'm just sitting there in one of those like weird 1950s seats and just having a hot cocoa with the person across the way. Is basically where I put it at. But any help with the engagement factor is much appreciated. Of course, I do have a link below, like the good Meisters down as well. If you want to go check it out, my Twitter X, my email, sort of my thing, Discord is there, just for DMM, of course. Um, all my link stuff is there. If you want to check it out, go ahead. And of course, if you'd like to take up the opportunity yourself to come on, guess what? There's a comment section down below, or you can go to that link and get started. There's only been one person, like I said earlier, there's only been one person who followed through the links to try to find me to come on my show, and that was Slinger Games. So appreciate that, Slinger Games. And of course, at tomorrow at I gotta look at my calendar because I can't look at my phone. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, I will have Jason Fox coming on at 7 p.m. Eastern, first time. So it'll be an interesting to see, and hopefully this will work tomorrow as well. Because I really do want my computer back, but I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars trying to fix it. So I do hope that they fix it, or tell me like, oh yeah, you're gonna need to build new computers. Like, curse you!
It's time to start
I'm hoping for
donation goal.
Oh god, I don't want to do it, but I'm hoping it's just a software issue, and they can thank you for that, Neuro. I appreciate that, much appreciated. Some coffee money for you. I don't drink coffee, but I thank you anyway.
He might need it
Thank
for
you.
his new PC.
Yeah, well, I'll, yeah, maybe, but I'm hoping for the best. But I had a work call. Hey, no worries. Thank you for being back. But yeah, no, again, Jason Fox will be on at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So that'll be interesting to see because I've got a lot of work to do now that I have to do everything mobile. So
Sure.
there's that. But anyway, um, so there's one more thing I do, and it's called Questions from a Hat. And so what happens is I bought a hat from Rumble, right? And I put some questions in it. So what happens is that you, my guest, get 2 freebie questions out of a hat. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, if I was on YouTube, I would say I'm not monetized on YouTube. So sorry, guys. But on Rumble, I'm monetized. So you can pay a Rumble rant, doesn't matter the amount, to have another question pulled out. Now, of course, Neuro gave $2. His daughter needs a backup PC for sure. I need to be rich first for that to happen. Um, and also be able to transfer my data over. Um, gives counterfeit dough for extra. No, I'm sorry. Counterfeits and fakes do not work here. It's the real deal. Oh, Rumble Quicker. Uh oh. She's really wanting you.
Oh
She's really
no,
wanting
Lady
you to get
Q.
question.
Uh,
Oh my goodness! Look, there's Big Black. Oh, Big Black. There you go. There
okay.
you go. So yes,
Okay,
you
let's
got
go.
five. This is like 5 questions so far. Look at that. Hold on. I gotta write down names. Hold on. I gotta see who the ones were. Um. Okay. First one was arrow. So I'll just put 2 dots. Yeah. That's what those Rumble post notes are in the back. They're a Rumble rant. So neural. So I'm gonna have to do a little divergent one. Okay. That's gonna be a mouthful. All right. There you go, Nero. That's for you. All right, and for Rumble Quacker, that was 5. Yeah, I know. I'm almost there. Almost there. Rumble. I have to spell it right. Quackers. That's quacking it up. All right, there you go. There you go, Rumble Quacker. And last but not least, Big Block coming in for the extra strike. And that's $2 right there. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I know it's not the idealist thing right now, but until my PC comes back, this is what I have. All
Well, you
right.
better be glad that Daramus writing it down because you wouldn't be able to read my handwriting. So
Look, if I tried to do cursive, it would not be a great day. It'd take me a lot longer. Why are you going down? Go back to all. All right, there you go. Ah, so many. Go.
oh
Okay.
no, Dashboard Nomad wants on there too. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. All right, dashboard and another one from. So that's 6 altogether. 6 questions. That's a big one. That's been.
Love
I
it.
don't think I've. I
Love it.
think the highest I've ever reached was 5.
I love it.
So all right, no man. All right. All right, there you go, Dash. There you go. That one's for you. So that's 6 altogether. So I hope you guys are happy with that. Because this is going to be interesting at least. All right, so let's start with the first of many. Let's start with the first of many. Okay,
I'm ready.
my eyes are closed. I am picking this. I'm picking the question without looking at it. So there's random. It's like so when they do that spaghetti thing, they reach your hand down. It's like, oh, it feels like worms or something. It's not worms. It's not worms. Oh, Hans. Good Lord,
Oh
Hans.
no.
All right. I got one here for Hans. I got one for Hans. All right,
Hey, Hans,
Hans.
nobody asked you to put it in Latin in the chat.
If he's putting it in Latin, I'm sorry, I can't read that. I cannot read
I
that at
would
all.
have to get
All
my
right.
translator out because I can't read Latin either. I took 2 years, still can't read it all. I recognize it, just can't read it.
So that's 7 questions altogether. So count yourself lucky. That's probably the
Hey,
highest.
I'm all for
So
it. I love questions.
he,
Love them.
so you've broke. So you, I'm just gonna put this out there. You've broken the record for the highest amount of questions paid. Oh dear Lord, what is?
How big is that hat? Yes, sir. Let's make it 8.
Okay,
I love it.
okay. I'm gonna take a piece of paper off. Hold on. Okay, okay. That's another one for Big Black.
Let's just get it.
That's 8.
We're
That's
gonna be
8.
here a
You.
while, boys. Y'all better just get your mugs out, refill that coffee, and get ready for a late night.
Oh yeah, this is there you go, Big Black. Yes, this is definitely going to be one of those shows. But again, I appreciate you all so very much. I get a piece of tape for this one that's lying right here. Goodness sake! But yeah, I'm just gonna call it Omega. You are the probably the most paid for questionnaire person I have seen so far. So pat yourself on the back because
They
this
just
is
want
gonna
to
be a
hear
long one.
my responses so they can troll me on it later. Don't worry,
All
Han
right.
will
Well,
remember
no,
everything.
that's what I'll agree with that. So here's the first one. Here's the first question I pulled out, and the question is, if I can open it up right, what would you rather be, too hot or too cold?
Oh gosh, I am definitely like you can see there's not much muscle on the body. I am tall and lanky, weighing in or standing at 6 foot, weighing at 170 pounds roughly,
Whew.
on a good day. So too hot is always my choice and
Mm,
preference because I can cool off just fine, but keeping warm is a pain. During the winter, I wear
mhm,
3 layers in most cases, so even when it's, like, 40 degrees outside, which is comfortable to most people, I'm like, "Nah, give me the extra layers."
mhm. Yeah, and I got up to like 60 today where I'm at. So
That's
of
not
course,
cool.
of course, it's gonna drop right down back to like the 20s. I'm like, curse you!
Right? It's the tease in the wintertime. It's like, "Oh, you give you a little bit of nice warm." Remember one or we've had, like, 2 or 3 Christmases where it's 75 outside, and,
I'll wear those shorts.
oh, yeah. It's like, welcome Christmas in December. I love it, or well, technically Christmas in summer at that point, but,
Yeah, well, I've worn. I think I wore short. No, I didn't wear shorts for this last one. The one previously I wore shorts for. So there's that. By the way, here's question number two. So we got we got six more to go.
I love it. Let's go.
Like, all right. So question number two is: if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
So I know that the most generic is and this would be my choice, but it's so generic, I definitely am not gonna elaborate on it. Obviously,
Mhm.
Jesus Christ,
Oh.
most written about and historically impacting. I mean, it's God in human form, so you can't get
Mm,
any. I would love to sit down and talk to God. That's amazing. But to make it more interesting, my
mhm.
runner up is definitely going to be Hannibal. Um, and no, not Hannibal Lecter. We're talking
Oh, okay,
Hannibal
okay.
from Carthage,
Oh,
who
okay.
crossed the Alps and actually invaded Rome. The only person at Rome's height the height of Roman Empire's power that was capable of pulling off such a great feat. I'd love to pick his brain
Mm,
and just understand because the kind of mind that it would take to strategize against the greatest superpower that the world knew at that time, that really wrote the
mhm,
book on warfare that would last through the middle centuries until guns were created. The kind of
wow.
mental capacity for understanding how people behave and warfare in general that man had to have in order to take on the Roman Empire, even when Carthage itself wasn't
Uh-huh,
supporting him, is it's amazing in my book. So definitely
uh-huh.
the person I would sit down with and just love to pick his brain and get to know what he understood about warfare. Because I guarantee you,
Mhm.
everybody talks about that Chinese guy and he wrote a book on war and all this other, and I'm like, yeah, because he had the support of his people, and people would actually write down in history what he said. Nobody knows what Hannibal knew because nobody supported the guy. I wanna know
Uh,
what he did because he took on the world's greatest superpower. China didn't have anybody except for the Mongols, and they defeated China multiple times. So, anyway.
yeah. Yeah. No, that's a history not lesson for another time. But all right, here's number three. What is your oh no, I probably won't do this one because this is about like what is your favorite curse word, but I doubt you do that. So
Oh, I
we'll break
do,
it.
off stream, trust me.
Oh,
It's a
uh,
family-friendly stream, so I keep it in, but I definitely cuss a
oh,
lot.
family friendly. I've never said my stuff is family friendly. I don't know what you're talking about. Um, it's up to you if you don't want to answer it, but I'll
No,
pick another one in its states.
I definitely don't mind. I think that personally, hmm,
The one you just yell that just pops in your head.
it's gosh, that is tough. Because I used pretty much everything under in the book Um,
Is this the and
if there
Brit?
was one I was gonna use for emphasis, though, like, if I'm trying to make a point either to say support something supportive for somebody or
Mm,
to really drill home something that's consequential, it's probably damn.
yeah.
Um, just because in that moment, it's soft enough that it lands without throwing off what you're saying, but it's strong enough to
Mm,
to provide emphasis. And a lot of people are like, Omega, you're a Christian. How could you curse?
mm,
Personally, you can destroy people with the most polite words,
yeah.
and you can build them up with the most foul language. So
Mm,
it's where
mm,
where it comes from the heart. What's your heart intent behind it?
and
So I
yeah.
don't personally see cursing as a problem.
Mm,
Um, as far as language, what I see as an issue is what you're doing from your heart towards the other person. If you are speaking out of love and you say, "I am damn proud of you," I think that is much better than
uh,
saying, "You're a real fool," and meaning that out of ill intent. I didn't cuss in one by our standards, and I
eh,
cussed in another, but one built
yeah.
somebody up and the other one tore somebody down. That's how I
Mm.
I look at that.
I like Hans's right there. Is Biden a swear word yet?
Well, if you called somebody Biden, I think it would be this day and time.
Uh, I think at that point it could be more than a curse word at that point. Um, yeah, I don't do curse words because I have a whole encyclopedia to kind of draw from, and there are some words in there like I don't even know what that means. Like that's right because I do and you don't.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, but I can understand that. All right, on to number 4. Okay. Um. Oh goodness. All right. Here's this one right here. This one is, oh, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and how would you use it?
Mm. I've actually thought about that one a lot. Personally, if I had any superpower, it would
Mm,
really be the ability to control time.
mm,
Everybody wants the opportunity, and especially me, to rewrite their mistakes.
mm,
Um, Now, would I use it for that? Reality is, I would hope not, because in the end, the story of salvation is worthless if you can just unwrite every mistake you've made, when you're
mm,
perfect. I don't wanna be
mm,
God. I couldn't be God. I am very incapable of that.
mm,
Um, so I would hope I would only use it as a means to, in certain circumstances, help to save people's lives or whatever the case may be.
mm.
But I would let's be real, if I had a superpower, I would abuse it because I'm
Yeah.
corruptible, alright? So, there's no telling what I would do with it. My heart and I've told people this before, my heart wants to do the right thing in that moment, but
Mm.
my mind tells me, knowing my past experiences, I can't say. I can only hope that I would be, but that would be my superpower is to control time.
Yeah, that certainly you would certainly it'd be like Groundhog's Day where you just
Mm,
do it and then it wouldn't matter, that sort of thing.
yeah.
Um, because then I can you're like, oh wow, I just stole from that. It always found it funny when the in the movie he would time it just right to steal the bags, and then after a while he would just do good things because it got so repetitive and all that stuff. And it's just like I could see that. I just more like just stop aging and just live forever sort of thing. But that's just me. Um,
That's a good one too.
yeah, I like his choice, but remember Uncle Ben. Oh, that's true. Remember
Uh-huh.
Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima. Don't forget Aunt Jemima.
Well, it's even like, I've seen Butterfly Effect and some of those others where they can actually go back and then when they make different decisions, the way that it impacts the future, like we in our finite knowledge of the world, like we were talking about perspective, we don't see the big picture. We don't know how
Mm-hmm.
that affects things. So I would probably screw up more than I would help.
That can be true as well. I would just do the live forever the immortality thing because it's about passing on things, right? And of course, that could have
Mm,
its own pros and cons to it too. But you do see sort of a pattern where there's enough of a gap to where the lessons of old are kind of stuck in stories that people don't
mm,
understand, and then when it comes to all those stuff. Like, I mean, you had world wars, you had all these things, and there were lessons of. I mean, there were still some people alive during those times, but there was still just enough distance that there were some lessons lost, and I think that's part of the issue. But that's just me. But anyway, going on to number 5, because obviously we don't want to be here all night. Let's see.
I
There we
guess
go.
that depends
Oh,
on your audience, Daramuth, huh?
that depends on if
Might
they're
fund that computer tonight if they keep going.
yeah, Spanish rice and beans is good. Still too many carbs. Well, I understand that. I'm gonna take that off the screen though, because I'm getting carbs enough by seeing it. But anyway, here's number 5, and this one says, "What's your favorite day of the week?"
That's another really good one. I know most people would be like Friday because work's over. That's not it for me. I think I think I honestly enjoy Sunday the most
Mm-hmm.
because I think at that point mentally I'm kind of reset and I've had enough time with my family to where I've really created some great memories and I'm looking forward to getting back um to one, streaming and being with the Meisters, I love that. But
Mm-hmm.
2, also, I during the day, I get to consult for my business and build clientele, and we have repeat clients that call me up and they want help with their projects and things like that, and
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Again, it goes back to the whole relationship thing. I
Mm-hmm.
have created such a beautiful, um, relationship with my clients to where they trust me and it
Mm-hmm.
feels good when someone calls you up with their problems and they say or just, their opportunities and say, "You're the person that I wanna take in on this project because I know that you're gonna take care of me." And when you go from start to finish with them and you see the end result and you say, "Hey, I played a part in that. No, my
Mm-hmm.
hands didn't get in there. I didn't build anything. I didn't, create anything out of it, but what I did was I helped them to navigate the whole process, and at the
Yeah.
end of it, they have something that they are very grateful that it came through the way or finished the way that it did, and I was a part of that portion of the process,
Mm-hmm.
and, it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, Sunday would be it because I'm still in that mode of spending time with family, but I'm looking forward to all the great things that are gonna come through the week.
Time stole my childhood. Wow. Can't believe I'd see it. Can't believe I'd see a grown man complain like that. But no, time stole my childhood too. But I grew up. Okay, on to on to number 6.
I love it.
Okay, all right. My hands are in there. I think it's about the first time I've ever seen this many come up before. This is scary. Um, okay, here we go. Hold on, I gotta fold out. There's that one. This is number 6. What's the most ridiculous way you've ever injured yourself?
Oh, yeah, that one's easy. So, some of the Meisters know, but, you all are gonna get some inside knowledge to Omega y'all don't know. I have,
Hmm.
done martial arts for 19 years of my life, uh,
Wow.
and it was one of those things I started with the mindset like most people do, "Oh, I'd love to get a black belt in taekwondo
Mm,
or something like that." You watch Jackie Chan and Chuck Norris and all that cool stuff, Bruce Lee.
mm,
But after the first class, I completely forgot about my goal. I just fell in love, and so I've done it for 19
mm,
years. But at the height of my training in martial arts, I wanted to do some of the it's not actual martial arts, it's gymnastics realistically, backflips and things like that, the
yeah.
tricky stuff that looks flashy. That's
Mm,
not practical. You'd never do this in real life, right, if you were defending yourself. But,
right.
um the first time I was working on it, you always have a spotter, somebody who helps you make the flip, and so they're working
Mm,
with me on it, and we're doing it, and they're like, "Man, you're doing so well. I feel like you got this one. I'm just going to just kind of help support you, but I'm not gonna push as much."
mm,
I go to do the backflip, and I get up, and he takes his hand out because he's like, "Man, he's got it," and I stop rotating, and so I come down on my back of my head and my shoulders. My knee hits the side of my eye, and it leaves a nice big red bruise, like, turns it all black and blue.
ah,
Needless to say, I stopped tricking after that day. It knocked the wind out of me. Probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever done. When everybody in the studio comes rushing in to see what happened, you did something pretty incredibly stupid.
Hmm.
So yeah, the most ridiculous way I got injured was probably that, or picking up a rattlesnake. Probably the second or first most ridiculous thing I've done. Um, I have a terribly bad love for all things in creation, and snakes is one of those very, very many things. And so yeah, recognized it was venomous. Never seen this species before. Picked up a pygmy rattlesnake. Got bit. Almost lost
Uh,
a finger.
uh,
Much less my life. But needless to
Jeez.
say, I survived that. That would obviously be one of the most ridiculous things I've done to get injured. So
God dang it, Big Black. God
you don't
son
think
of
we could try this out, do you? I love it. Darren,
that's
we're gonna
that's
have some
number.
cats rolling all night.
Yeah. Well, that's if their wallets are deep enough. Uh,
Yes.
people gotta pay for their bills too. All right. Got it. All right. There you go. There you go. Got it right there. All right. Thank you. There. Oh, I gotta take him off screen now. He's had his time in the fun there. All right. Thank you, Big Black. I much appreciate it. All right. Number 7.
Got 3 more, baby. Let's go.
All right. What's the most useless superpower you can think
Oh gosh.
of?
Man, I've seen a lot of superpower movies. What would be the most useless? Um, maybe there's a superpower that only allows you to tie shoes, and it's very, very specific to tying shoes, not rope in general. Let's just do that.
who, who
Ah,
did
stop it.
Hans again?
Oh gosh.
Oh, you got much more to go with that. You got much more to go with that.
I
All right.
love it.
What were you saying about the tying the shoes again?
Yeah, it's not just tying rope, it's, like, literally just tying shoes, so about the only thing you could do is prank people by tying their shoes together, right? That's probably the most useless superpower I could think of, that comes to mind right off the bat, right? 'Cause I forget the name of the show, but there's this one show where they give people superpowers because of some sort of storm or whatever, and
Uh,
even there's a person
hey.
who and this I second this. Very mysterious, good to see you. Uh
uh, I've had her fun too.
But there was, like they gave one person a superpower, all they could do was control lactose or milk, and
Okay.
even they had, like everybody eats cheese and all this other stuff, so their superpower became somewhat really useful. They could
Uh,
actually kill people with milk, so there was that. So yeah, I think it's your superpower is very specifically you can only tie shoes. That's it. That's all you can do. Mentally tie shoes from anywhere.
you just think I wish I could tie the president's shoes right now, and the president just fell up the stairs.
And maybe that's what happened to Joe Biden. Maybe
There
there's
you
a guy
go.
out there who actually can tie shoes together with his mind.
He was like, all right, I gotta see Joe Biden in my mind. He's got to trip up the stairs. Oh, hey, fair. Well, thank you for lurking. I appreciate you being here as well. Now I gotta write your name down. Hold on. Very, very mysterious. Gotta write down very
Oh, and,
mysterious.
and it's
Okay.
the guy. It specifically, it's the guy from oh gosh, Family Guy. Hubert, the guy. I
Who?
have to see Joe Biden in my mind. He likes little boys just like me.
Oh my gosh.
Tie
Don't
his
you?
shoes. There can only be one child predator.
There you go, Fairy. No, it's
Right.
like, don't you want a
That's it.
popsicle
That's
stick?
the one. Yes.
Don't you want a popsicle stick? Mm, I think we have another one in the stove there, Freebird. Mm.
He's like, hey, I invented sniffing children.
oh man, we're gonna be bad people by the end of the night.
Oh yeah, it's going
Uh,
that direction. I love it.
oh my gosh. All right. So we're going at so yeah, 10 so far. That's 10. 10 total. The world breaker for questions from Ha. All right, let's go pick another one. This is number 8. Number 8. Number 8. All right. Here's number 8. This one is, what's a childhood memory that still makes you smile?
Gosh, I got a lot of those. Probably my number one childhood memory that makes me smile the most. My parents were missionaries to
Okay.
the country of Nepal.
Ooh.
So my first memories are actually from that. I was 3 months old when I was born before we
Mm,
traveled overseas.
mm,
And over there, because they were a British, colony at one point, India, Nepal, all that whole region,
right.
they do the whole tea thing, morning tea, afternoon tea, yada, yada.
Oh,
Um, in Nepalese, Rama Didi means
Ramadini.
big sister, Rama Didi.
Oh, Ramadini.
Um, and so we had a maid because, of course, we're Americans, our money goes a long way over there, even though we really didn't get much. Hans, keep asking questions until he tells us where he's buried the body.
All right, it's your money. All right,
Oh,
it's
I
your
like that
money.
one. There's some bodies, let me tell you, Hans.
Um,
Um,
that's not the next question, though.
but also in Nepalese is, tea is chia. So
Chia.
I remember waking up as a kid and I looked forward to Rama Didi, our maid, who I considered my big sister. She was everything to me. And my
Uh,
parents obviously were my brothers too, but I always look forward to mornings. I would wake up and she'd be coming in the door, and I would run up to her and I'd say, "Chia Rama Didi," which meant, can we have tea, big sister?
eh,
And she loved it. She loved making us tea. We'd have our morning tea. We'd sit down together and drink tea.
mhm,
And I'd spend the day doing things with her, whether it was she was doing our housework with us. My parents always made us do housework with her. We'd wash our
mhm,
own clothes. She didn't do it for us. Um, we'd help her out with mopping and things like that. And we loved it. We loved spending time with her. So that was probably the biggest childhood memory, was waking up and thinking about doing tea with her.
uh, a very proper English tea, obviously.
Yes, with milk or with cream and sugar. Yes, we did.
I can't do tea because it just tastes like water to me. So unfortunately, but
You haven't had good tea, sir.
I
You
think this
haven't
may
had a proper cup of tea, sir.
I haven't had an English breakfast either. But all right. Well, this is number 9, and I think you just answered that question for me. Do you prefer coffee or tea? I think you just said tea, so
Yes,
that one is that
and
one was answered.
we do tea on the stream too, so that, yeah, that's a thing.
Do you do it in like fancy china?
No, this is the official Meister mug right here. It's actually a fun little, almost like oil slick colored cup. It's dirty now because it's had tea in it, but it's got the
Mm,
face of an owl on there. I love owls. Owls can be anything you want them to. They can be country, they can be steampunk. It's whatever you want. So
eh,
we got
owls are yeah, owls are who. But anyway,
that.
here you go. Here's this one, number 10, right here. And this one is, hold on, I gotta open it. This one asks, what's your favorite holiday?
Oh, geez, that's a tough one too. I like them all. Um, I think Thanksgiving is probably my favorite. Um,
you got, you got a roller.
oh my
Oh
goodness, Lady
gosh.
Q and Nancy, stop! I gotta go to bed at some point. You guys, no, I'm joking. No, it's fine. I appreciate it. I
So
appreciate
that's
it.
11, 12, 13. So that's 14 total so far. Dear good Lord.
It's an
Well,
honor to me that you guys love asking questions. And thank you for donating to Dartmouth. He deserves it. Very generous of y'all. That
okay,
it
Kate,
seems
no,
kind
answer
of
the question.
long.
Let me get a long right to you.
That
So
one was too easy, Lady Q. I hope you have another hat. So Thanksgiving, and while Daramuth writes, I'll keep talking.
yeah.
Um, the reason being is because when I get to Thanksgiving, the most important thing for me is I remember the fact that we're blessed to have the freedoms that God gave us with the founding of
Mm,
America that He did, because realistically, we didn't have to and shouldn't have gotten separation from the British Empire and the
mm,
persecution that occurred there. And I can freely worship and pray and thank God and believe what I want to believe
mm.
which you did not have when the Pilgrims fled England. Questions money. Dashboard, no, I love it, brother. So that's number one, but also too, just under a more selfish, personal love for Thanksgiving. It's that holiday that makes for a long weekend right before you get into Christmas. So
Mm,
you know the next one's just around the corner. And I know you guys understand what I'm saying. So
mm,
Thanksgiving's the first one that starts that big block of holidays where we get to enjoy some good time with family.
mm. Yeah, no, definitely. I know, and Christmas is usually the one that most people look forward to because it's that holiday that everyone gets together, they sing, they eat. Oh, that's a five. Never mind. Sing and eat, and oh, I wrote down the wrong number. Sing and eat, and all that stuff. And uh, I'm gonna. There's gonna be a lot of words tonight. That's for sure. Um, there you go, Dash. But yeah, it's I have to pull that one up. There you go, the last one. So that's 15 altogether. Ladies and gentlemen, I think he's breaking records as he goes along. So I've got to pull another one in the hat. Just to keep it going. So here's one here. This is number 10. This one is states. Ask, what does freedom? Oh, here we go. What does freedom of speech mean to you?
We kind of touched on this earlier.
Mm,
With the whole monetization thing, and I think
just
that
say it
that
anyway.
yeah, we'll go right into it. I think that kind of plays into, exactly what I think freedom of speech is more than just the ability to talk. I think it's the ability to speak where you aren't you don't in any way feel threatened for what you say. That I mean, because like
Mm,
with the whole monetization thing, if you think for 1 second that it doesn't affect people when they know their livelihoods are at stake, think
mm,
again. There are plenty of people who will say what you tell them to say if it protects them from losing their livelihood. Uh,
yeah.
and so you can't in any way be intimidated from
Mm,
speaking to have the
mhm.
freedom of speech. That is the truth of the matter. Good. I love you, like Big Block Plymouth. You guys are all great. So
Jeez.
yeah, I think freedom of speech is
16.
unhindered in any way whatsoever. You have to be able to be protected even from intimidation when you're speaking. It's okay to challenge ideas. I'm not saying you don't push back on people's ideas. You absolutely should. That's what makes us better,
Mhm,
and it's why you and I want to talk to people everywhere is because I love hearing and sharpening my ideas and in a lot of ways, it may not change my perspective, but it may change on how I communicate what I say or even,
mhm,
help reinforce what I know. And other
mhm,
times it does change my perspective and I rethink how I look at things. So it needs to be
mhm,
completely unhindered from intimidation,
mhm.
altogether.
Well, not only that, but I mean, back in like the days of the Roman Empire, they'd have those places where you'd have the rotunda where
Mhm.
people would battle ideas. And that's a funny thing is you don't see that very much more because well, one, you feel like your life would be threatened if they disagree.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was for the Senate, if it was just for whatever, but you did have that place where you could battle all ideas, and of course the ideas would just go on for you have the Socrates method, you have all that
Mhm.
stuff, but you don't see that very much. You could probably see it in Congress, but even then, Congress is sort of like it's sort of like the toy that's been played with too much. But
Mhm.
anyway, here's number 11 because we've got 16, so we got five more to go. Uh, if you could instantly master any musical instrument without practicing, which would you pick?
It's the violin every single day because it probably is the most precise of instruments that you could learn to master that's actually still widely used. I wouldn't say there's
Mm,
not more precise and difficult instruments to master, but the violin is something that will always be, um, similar to the piano. Like, when you see someone play the piano, there's something nostalgic about it. Same thing with the
mm,
violin, except the violin also has a level of difficulty to it that I think even the piano doesn't have.
mm,
And that's just speaking from purely objective what I've seen because obviously I don't play either instrument, so I don't know which one would be more difficult, and every individual has a natural propensity to certain kinds of learning that others don't. So,
mm.
yeah, that would be my choice because I love the way it sounds, and I think that it's a very difficult instrument to master, and I would love to be able to master that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I once played piano as a kid, and that was mostly just due to homeschooling stuff because that'd be like one of those things. But I have a guitar. I haven't played it very much anymore. It's just not one that's reached out. But uh, eh, maybe piano would probably be the one for my answer because yeah, and of course number 12. Yeah, number 12. I gotta remember where. Okay, so let's see what this one says. Oh, and don't believe me, I've got a lot more than 16 questions in my hat. So we're not. Oh, I'll just read this. Do you prefer to shop online or in stores?
Well, I am definitely a in-store shopper.
Mm,
The whole online thing, you never know really what you're gonna get, um, at least with in-store. It's also the experience. You remember Daramuth as a kid when we go to Toys R Us? Or we'd go to, uh
Once, yeah, one was around. Yeah.
yeah, or what it's now GameStop, it was EB Games before, right?
Mm,
Getting to walk in, and there's something about the experience of seeing the images, having the feel, being in there with people who are all excited about something that you're excited about, and I guess
mm,
that plays back into my relationship thing. So I wanna smell it, I wanna see it,
mm,
and be able to pick this thing up and look at it. And I mean smell as in, like, you remember carpet smelled a certain way when you walked in a store, even if it was a bad smell. It still is something that brings back a memory. It triggers something.
mm,
So I will always be, if I have a preference, to go to the store to purchase the thing that I wanna or just to shop around because I want that experience, to
mm.
create that memory. Shopping online, it really doesn't create memories, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, always gonna be in person.
I went to an IKEA once for the first time, and I'm like, wait a second, you're telling me this is a store that has its own restaurant? What are you talking about again? So I was like, it's like a restaurant within a home furnishing place. I'm just like, wait, you have a place that has a restaurant in it? I'm there. I'm going for the restaurant, but I'm there. All right.
Oh, if
The
you could
the
shop while you eat good food, yes, please.
I get to have some meatballs and whatever the special is. Yes.
Well, that's what
Here's
malls are
number.
good for, right?
Yes, exactly. I went. It was a two floor because some of them are one floor. It was a two floor, and I was like, yeah, I could adjust. I'll just be here for the next hour, guys. You keep walking.
Yeah.
And they had a little on the first floor. They had a little like concession area where they sold hot dogs and stuff. Like, come on, it's my. All right, here's number 13. Do you prefer cats or dogs, and
Ooh, that's a
why?
great question. So, I love both, but yes, I do
Okay.
prefer cats.
Mhm.
And everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, Omega just dropped a few points in my estimation." That's fine. It's all good.
And
Uh,
they get now.
I unapologetically love cats, and the reason being is because, they take more work. I know that's crazy, right? But I'm not
Yeah, well,
talking
it's
about
not.
more
It's
work
true.
in what you have to do for them. I'm talking
Mhm.
about more work in what it gets to make them love you.
Yeah.
Um, Kittens,
Meow.
obviously, you can get a kitten and it'll treat you that way, but when it becomes an adult,
Mhm.
cats shape their personality based on what they want, not what you want. A dog, you can teach a dog to do whatever you want to because it wants to please you. A cat, they don't care if you're happy or not unless
uh,
unless you spend the time getting to know them and
mhm,
you show them and earn their trust. Then they care a lot about making you happy, and it's different. Whereas a dog is always trying to do whatever you want them to do, a cat invites you to do the things with them that they wanna do. And I think that's really cool because I want to learn what that animal likes and wants to do and experience
mhm.
something new with them, and every cat is different.
Yeah.
Um, and they all want to do things a different way, and I've got 3. I only wanted 2, but they know I'm a sucker for them, so 1 showed up and decided to stay. Um, so he's the number 3, but,
Mhm.
yeah, each one of them is so different, but I love the experience with each one, so that's why cats are my favorite.
Uh-oh. You froze up there for um,
Oh, and yeah, they do
uh,
Blip Blap said they take care of themselves, and yes, that's true, I love that about them. All I have to do is feed them, make sure they have water. They go outside to use the litter box, it's a great outdoors, so it's
yeah,
easy.
yeah. They do take care of themselves, but you give them catnip, woo, man, they're
Oh,
out.
yeah. I love drugging them up, though. It's a great experience.
That's That's just wrong for your entertainment. Oh my goodness. All right, here's number 14. Um, would you rather read a book or watch a movie?
Hmm. It depends. Okay, so personally, if I have a choice and it's a really good book, I would probably pick a book over a movie because generally, when I've read books after I've seen
Mm,
movies, it ruined the movie. So it's like, why even watch the movie if it's just going to ruin it? And Hollywood's really sucked lately, so there's not a lot of great movies.
mm,
Um, I've been reading. This is the one I've been reading recently, and I love this book.
mm,
Um, Anything that has a lot of good in depth analogy or study on human personality,
mm,
that's relatable, not like a deep study. It's like, oh, the psyche of the lower sector of the brain does this when it's triggered. But no, I don't want that crap. But like what we're doing, where you have somebody who sat down and interviewed people and is
mm,
giving what they said and their own personal experiences with that person. Like I love that kind of stuff.
mhm,
I read George Alfred Hinty is one of my favorite authors. If you guys want to look him up, he's a historical um, fiction writer, and he wrote
mhm,
a lot of history. He was a, military reporter, so he was
mm,
out in the field a lot during the Civil War,
mm,
and he understands history, and he understands military tactics and a lot of geography. He knows a lot of the world. That's another books the or set of books, and there's a ton of them he wrote that I love picking up and reading too. I still watch movies, and I'll do it more because you do movies with people, right? But if
mhm.
I'm by myself and I'm gonna watch a movie or read a book, it's definitely gonna be a book.
Nice. Yeah, it just depends, but it's been more movies than anything else. To eat your face. Ugh. Anyway, number 15. What's a simple pleasure from your childhood that still holds up today?
Hmm. Gosh, there's a lot of those. We talked about the tea thing, so I'm not gonna
Yeah.
rehash that one. Um, I think that when I was younger, I did trading card games, and that still
Oh.
holds true today. Everybody knows I still play video games, obviously, so we're not gonna go through
Mm,
that one either. But trading card games were a big one for me. I started with Pokemon when I was about 10 years old. I think that's when it came out,
nice.
and, loved that game. And then Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was about 17, I started playing that, played it for a long time, played Magic: The Gathering. And the
Oh,
reason I love
nice.
the card games is it's a game of chess in
Mm,
and of itself. Trading card games are. You really a lot of times will learn, especially if you played regularly at events locally, you'd learn the
mm,
people you were playing against, and you would be playing mind games against them as you're playing
mm,
cards. So even though you're playing cards and you know the cards and your opponent's playing cards and they know the cards, how they play them was just as important as what they were playing. And,
yeah.
I got really good at understanding my opponent and playing the strategy based off of what I knew they would do, and it
Mm,
was just it's so much fun, and I'm sure this is how chess players think too. It's so much fun when you think ahead of your opponent, you strategize, you see them do the thing you were waiting on to
mm,
close it out, and that to me was the greatest feeling ever. It's like, "Yes, I anticipated this, and here's what I'm gonna do in response," and you're never gonna see it coming, and that look on their face when they're defeated, and you're just like, "Yes, I did do that." It's great, it's great. Uh yeah, that is one of the greatest things ever. Me and my friends, we would share stories after we do tournaments and stuff. We're like, "Do you remember when I did this play?" It's like reliving the glory days. So, yeah, still do it,
yeah.
still love it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I gotta take that off. Hold on a second.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly, very mysterious. It's the mental game. I love tennis for that reason too. I played it for quite some time as well. You're learning your opponent. Even
Mm,
taekwondo, when you're sparring, it's you see patterns and you start to learn, and when you start to pick up on it faster
mm.
than your opponent can read you, it's such a glorious feeling.
Yeah, good. Again, chess is a good way for the kind of mind games because you see like those professional chess ones, and they play mind games with each other, trying to beat the clock or whatever. It can get pretty brutal depending on.
Yes.
Okay, number 16 is the last one, unless someone else gives another rumble rant. If you were a sandwich, what kind would you be, and why?
Uh, Probably corned beef. Because
Ugh.
I don't know if you've had corned beef, haven't you, Jeremy?
I may have had it once, but it's most likely during like St. Patrick's Day because you know how that goes. But I'm not. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan
Yeah,
of
so
it.
you've got the whole sauerkraut thing going with the corned beef on there, and it's usually on
Yeah.
a rye or something like that. So it's very bold and in your face kind of flavors that you either
Mhm.
really love or you're like, yeah, that's not my thing. And I think that's what I am. I am a
Mm,
you either really love it, you're like, oh man, I can get on board with this, or you're like, golly,
mhm.
that's way too much. Can't stay here. Moving on. Uh Lady Q's like, we're not stopping here. Yeah, I
That
think
makes it.
yeah,
That
I think
makes
that's
it
it.
number 17. Makes it number 17. Goodness sake, you guys, people are crazy. Um, but yeah, I'm not big. Again, I'm not big with beef because I know they do corned beef and cabbage during St. Patrick's Day. I'm just it just doesn't hit well for me. I can do. There's a an Irish pub near where I live, and they have different menu stuff, but uh, corned beef is just not my forte of thing. So
Mm.
now that we've got that, we'll get one more question out. Of course, thank you to Rumble Quacker. And here you go. Here's number 17. What's the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Mm. This is definitely a worldview one, so it's not gonna land for a lot of people unless you really understand because it's very simple, but yet most people would disagree with it at first until
Mm,
they really salt their soul and understood, yeah, that's actually really true. Um, I was listening to a sermon and I I never would have imagined this to make so much sense to me. Making the sexiest are we? I love it. Um, the the idea and the concept is that we are all worthless. And you're
mm,
like, "Gosh, how could that be? How could we possibly be worthless?"
mm,
But if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Because
mm,
if you think about what we talked about with the whole streaming thing and always comparing, right? We do
mm,
that on a consistent basis, and it's like, why do we compare though? Because in the
mm,
end, we when we search our souls and we search the reality of life, we realize that at some point we end, we stop.
mm. Yeah.
So we're finite, we're meaningless, we have no purpose outside of what others think of us. That's really what everybody seeks. So you seek to create
Yeah.
some sort of legend for ourselves, but obviously
Legacy.
right, the legacy, but obviously if you oh, you guys are killing me. Omega's wife is
19.
sleeping alone tonight. Um,
Uh,
obviously the reality of it is, um, we were created by a God who loved us so much that he wanted to have a relationship with us, but when we don't have God in our lives, the only
mm,
thing that has meaning, right? Because he pre-existed all of creation, he created us and the universe,
mm,
so that he could have a relationship with us. When we don't have that, we are worthless. God is the only one that has any worth to it, and when we take him as our source of meaning, we have
mm,
worth because he gives us worth. But if we don't
mm,
have him, we mean nothing and we're worthless. So that's why we're always
mm.
comparing ourselves to one another because we're trying to seek something to give us a meaning, a purpose, and I hate to say it, this world's never going to give it to us.
Yeah. No, it's very like you said, it's very finite, and we're trying to resolve. I mean, again, that's why we create all these different things, kind of distract us or fill the whatever.
Mm.
But yeah, I can understand that. All right, number 18, because that was two. What was it? Was it two? I'm getting lost here. So
Yes,
it's Hans.
Hans and Lady Q or no, Big Block dropped another one, and then Hans dropped another one. So yeah, there was 2. You're
So,
correct.
so wait, so I put it at one. That actually put it at 20. Gosh dang it.
Yeah.
Um, what is your least favorite word to say? This will be 18.
Oh gosh. Least favorite word to say. Probably one I
Mm,
haven't said. What is it that there's been a few. I'm trying to think of which ones that I hear a lot this day and time that I'm like, um, I do this one to aggravate my wife. This is probably one of my least favorites. It's the word you hear teenagers this day and time. They're like, bet, bet,
Oh,
yeah, bet, and I'm like, you're so. Oh, the chat was commenting, the Meisters especially, they're like, "Yeah, Omega's answers are so articulate." I love hearing people speak their thoughts and be very precise. And when I hear words like bet, I'm like,
uh,
you just tried to articulate an entire thought with just watch me or like we did the cool thing in the 90s. It's like, it'd be like, watch this or watch me or um I'll raise you, right? Or the whole bet, the actual bet in a gambling, I'll
uh,
raise you, or something like that.
uh,
And today we've integrated it to single word responses. And I'm sure there's more I'm not thinking of in the chat can throw them in there. There's other words
yeah,
that people say, and it's just like, that's so dumb. Are you really that incapable of articulating yourself?
yeah,
But it is our culture, and
yeah.
there's probably people preceding us that would look at our language and go, "Y'all are so simple-minded."
Word. But anyway, here's number
Need
19.
word. There you
Yeah,
go.
word. Or as one would say, what was that one? But never mind. I forgot it. This is 819. What's the weirdest dream you've ever had?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, Probably the most bizarre one I've ever had.
Mm,
Um, so I remember, and this was when I was older, so I was probably, I wanna say in my early adult years is when I had this dream, but I was
mm,
I was dreaming that I was back in one of the locations that we grew up in Nepal. It was a British embassy, and,
mm,
they had a rope bridge out there that the kids could play on. You climb up on it, you could run back and forth on it, lots of fun.
mm,
And so in my dream, I'm back there and I'm a kid again, and we're playing, we're having fun when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes a gorilla and just starts chasing me.
mm,
And, of course, I'm terrified. I'm a kid, and there's a gorilla chasing me. But to
mm.
make it more bizarre, it's like the gorilla chases me and catches me and then lets me go and chases me again, and I'm still afraid of this thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then I I can't remember exactly how it happens because you know how dreams are, but
Yeah.
eventually I get into this little, like, hideaway area, and in there are statues from the Hindu religion because they
Mm,
were all over the place over there. And one of them's got 6 arms. I forget the,
mm.
Shiva or something like that. But anyway,
Yeah.
she starts reaching for me and tickling me, which terrifies me even more.
Uh-huh.
And so I run out of the cave into the arms of the gorilla, and I wake up, which is really bizarre too.
Uh,
So I'm sitting here trying to ponder what the heck is wrong with me, or if dreams are
uh,
supposed to be interpreted, what does that say about what's going on in my life? But extremely bizarre. Probably the strangest dream
yeah.
I've ever had in my life that I can remember. I'm sure there was other ones, but you don't remember them
The
all,
good. Yeah, that's true. There were times where it was just me falling through space is one of them. But yeah, you don't remember them all. All right, number 20. That is the last one. Unfortunately, that is that people have paid for. And so, oh, why do I keep pressing? No. And so this one is a weird one. Is a hot dog slash taco a sandwich?
Logically, I would say since we can't categorize, we haven't categorized, anything specifically for a hot dog other than a hot dog and a taco other than a taco.
Mm.
Which doesn't taco mean something in Spanish like burrito is little donkey, taco is something else, if I remember correctly. Um,
This is a good,
yeah,
this is a good question.
so other than the names that they got, I guess you would have to classify them as somewhat of a sandwich because a burger is listed as a sandwich when you go to restaurants, so a hot dog should be too, right? That would be logical.
It's only got one side open though, so
Correct. Yeah,
buns.
there is that, but it's still a bun and it's still meat and some other topping in there, right?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, me, yeah, especially if you get like street tacos. Oh,
mhm.
oh,
And you've seen
we.
all sorts of things, fish tacos, and you've got, they'll make country tacos, breakfast tacos. Uh, so I would say, logically, it's probably a sandwich. Uh,
uh,
but personally, I kinda wanna give it its own category, you know what I mean? Because since you can take a waffle and put bacon, eggs, and sausage in there and call it a breakfast taco, I think tacos are kind of their own thing, are they not, you know? And I would
they.
say the same thing for hot dogs too, because you can put anything you want on that bad boy.
Mm,
So, I think they get their own category if I have anything to say about it. I think you have to create a new category for tacos and hot dogs, especially since there's whole businesses based off of it. You don't see whole businesses based off of a tuna fish sandwich. Most
yeah,
of the
that's
time.
true.
There's Chicken Salad Chick, which is a business I've heard of that does
Yeah.
all the chicken sandwiches, but it's only chicken salad. It's the chicken salad itself, it's not the sandwich. Whereas a hot
Mm,
dog is a hot dog, always.
mm,
No matter what you
yeah.
put on it, it's still a hot dog. So that's where I'm like, you can change a hot dog up into many different things, but you can't
Yep.
change chicken salad into many different things. It's still chicken salad.
Especially if you can cut up a hot dog and put it in mac and cheese. That's a real good way of doing that too.
Yep.
But anyway, guys, that is the end of it. That was. Then we'll have to give a congratulations to the Meister himself. 20 total questions from the hat. You guys almost did it too. Look at that. That's how much is left in the hat right there. Look at
Almost
that.
emptied the hat. I love
So,
it.
uh,
Good job.
almost. I can post a mobile video and a little bit long. Uh, Not this time, because once I end there, I can't play any videos, so I can't play any outro or intro through the app. So unfortunately, when I end it, it's ended. So there's none of that. But anyway, thank you also for being here, and of course, Meister, you're always welcome to come back. It's always will be always a pleasure to have you back on. And of course, guys, tomorrow 7 p.m. with Jason Fox. Oh goodness, I'm gonna be up for a while. But thank thank you so much. Even for the technical limitations, I appreciate you all being here. It's been a blast, and definitely, hopefully, tomorrow I hear about my PC, and it's at least somewhat good news, or at least somewhat workable news. It's better to replace one part than the whole, but I won't know until tomorrow. So hopefully that will come out great tomorrow. But anyway, thank you all for being here. And again, links down below for either end. Don't forget to leave a like, repost, and comment or follow. Anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated, because I can't tell you how much. Not only does it help in having people like Meister and Tomby and so many others on as guests, but also people who follow them on have the same opportunity to come on as guests. So you do have that.
Thank you again, Darren
Okay.
Murphy. It was
That
an
was
honor. I'd be happy to come back
Oh, thank
anytime.
you. Oh, that was it's it was an honor on my part too. What is he saying? You better wash it off after sticking it in the okay. I don't want to know what that's about.
Don't go down that
But
rabbit
anyway,
trail.
don't yeah, I don't want to go down the road. But anyway, guys, there is, again, like I said, there is no outro video through the app. I can't play any media of any kind. I only have access to uh theme and ads, and that's pretty much it. So once I end this, it will be ended. So sorry about that. But hopefully, again, tomorrow I hear something about my PC, and it's an easy fix instead of just a long process of replacing stuff, because that's where it's gonna become costly. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. Hope to see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Oh, there you go. What dashboard? What did dashboard do? Oh, he put some gifts up. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Hope to see you all tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. And remember to have a wonderful night. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, but thank you so much for the fun that has tonight. And definitely we put forward to a fund of if this happens again.
That's right.
Oh, anyway, guys, have a great night, guys. Bye. Oh, hold on. I gotta do this. I gotta do this hand because I get to end with the other. All right, bye, guys. There we go.